Jacob. So
this dude showing up with a freaking 10
There's
ton.
so much, and even if we had more, I don't think it.
oh my god.
Vaughn getting just doesn't burn.
No, that is that
Oh,
Vaughn?
no, I like this.
You also have gigantic hands.
In that car right now. We didn't fly all the ways here to watch you walk around in a sling.
How hot? Have you checked the weather yet? Do you think St. Louis is going to be scorching hot? I have no idea. I haven't checked the weather yet. But you know what is hot? This deal I got for you, which is saving $5 by using OZSTL at checkout. That's right. Do it. Just go for it. Go do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Outerzone, the official podcast of Formula Drift. My name is Jacob Gettins. We're scaring Rome's cat. Apparently our claps sync to get everything going. Freaked Rome's cat. I'm so sorry, Rome's cat. But yes, we have Rome Charpentier on. What's up, dude? How you been?
Good, super busy, which is always a good thing. Always a good thing. So
I really do feel like you never stop. Like, I don't know when you slow down, or do you take days off, or is it's just very routinely scheduled?
So, I guess today is a day off because there was nothing that I had to do, but I still ended up at Apple Valley with Matthew from Gragistic because he bought a $600 E36 and he's like, do you think this thing will drift? I'm like, let's go send it. So that's what we're doing today.
Is that almost more fun at this point, like driving a $600 like E36 than driving a pro car?
It's totally a different feeling because especially this one. So let me explain. $600 car, they manual swapped it. He's like, all right, let's go for it. So he ran a couple laps and he was actually doing pretty decent. Like, he's very new to drifting. You'll probably see him in drifting. He does a lot of road racing, but he gets out there and runs a couple laps. I'm like, all right, not bad. He's like, here, go with me. And there's no passenger seat. So I'm in the back seat with like this factory seatbelt, just kind of holding it. And it's pretty rough. And then he's like, here, you drive it. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, no, go for it. So e-brake doesn't work. It's only steering wheel and pedals, of course. And I go to flick in. And as soon as I touch the left foot brake, no one disconnected ABS or anything. So it just like locks the front brakes and they just try and like break your kneecap. And I found out real quick how hard it is to drift with ABS on, traction control on. Like, I was like, let's go back. Like, we need to do a lot of work. Hold on, let's go back. So I started pulling fuses out of it. And it got way better. When all the lights are on the dash, the Christmas tree setup, that's how you know E36 is ready to go. Yeah,
it's funny because I'll see people who get like disheartened with drifting, whether it's a huge financial thing. Like, whatever part of drifting that they start to fall out of love with. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I tell them is like, just go party drift. Like, just go with friends, go, super cheap, bang doors with friends for an entire afternoon. If you still feel the same way when you're done, then you can make some decisions. But like, don't do anything stupid until you just go back and party drift to some friends. You'll fall in love with the sport again. Everything will be fine. And
it's
seems to work.
Right. It is. 100%. I agree. So it's a good time.
Yeah. It's just, you got to get back to the roots of why we all got into it in the first place. Like, very few people just started drifting in a pro level car, really high horsepower car. Like, I would say most of us, but like, more and more people are getting into pro level cars right off the bat now. But for a lot of us, that's how we started.
Yeah, now I think it's a little bit different. I think it makes maybe a little bit more sense doing it that way, for the simple fact of like, you can take a shell and build everything from that, because a stock S chassis is so expensive running that it's almost cheaper to go the other way and just buy kind of a beat up shell and rebuild it than it is buying a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 S chassis that's still really isn't going to do what you're asking it to do. So
that's a good point.
It's kind of weird, like a weird era that we're into. Also, certain cars are getting super expensive. I remember cutting up S chassis and throwing them away because I'd post them for free and no one wanted them. Like, I couldn't get rid of them. We just take the parts off we wanted. And now they're worth gold. So everything's kind of changing, but I don't know. I still recommend people starting in whatever stock vehicle they can get so they don't learn bad habits right away. Because it definitely humbles you real quickly. Like, I'm used to running Apple Valley with a high horsepower car. Even a low horsepower for us is like 500 now. So when I get in a car that maybe it had 300,000 miles on it. So maybe 140-ish with ABS on, like, I learned real quick how difficult fully stock is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that you have to learn when it comes to things like weight transfer or like understanding when a car is truly bogging out, because you can make that correction so much easier at 100 horsepower than it is making that correction at like 5, 8, 1,000 horsepower. Like, clutch kicking an 800 horsepower car is very different than clutch kicking a 100 horsepower car.
Yeah. And it's almost like you clutch kick for the different reason. Like we're clutch kicking the car to find grip. So it's almost like we're using the clutch to pull power out of the car to find grip to let it light back up. Versus in a 150 horsepower car, you're just trying to make it around the corner still.
Yeah. That's such an interesting kind of thing to talk about too, is because I don't think a lot of people understand that the way that a pro car is driven is so much different than your stock vehicle, that like it's almost counterintuitive, similar to what you said. Like you're clutch kicking to figure out how to gain just a little bit more traction back into the car to get that surge going. Yeah, it can still be used to break traction, but you do need it to find traction as well, which is so weird.
Yeah, because especially on like a turbo setup, once you clutch kick and you break traction, it spools up. Now you have to figure out how to turn the power back down and like bring the wheel speed back down to go forward. If not, you're just going to sit there and get gapped.
Yeah, it's really, really strange that way, that like coming off throttle can often make you go forward faster. Like it's very counterintuitive to what you think. Although I did notice in Orlando, there's a few cars that are doing some really interesting stuff. I mean, of course, it's like Odie, like this, you get into the suspension people. The way Odie's car could find grip and dive was really interesting in Orlando. I don't know if you saw it, but I was like, okay, there's something different going on here that I haven't seen before.
So what else is funny is Rudy Hansen's car was super fast, if you notice, right?
Yeah.
He left Long Beach and was like, I don't know what to do for Orlando. We're just going to leave it alone. And he ran it completely the same way as he did Long Beach, and it was a rocket ship. So
interesting.
I don't know really, and I don't think we ever found like an actual answer on what makes him super fast or whatever. So I think the biggest thing is line. I know it sounds, counterintuitive or whatever, or, very true in any sport, but the line you take or the line you draw through Orlando definitely affects on how much speed you have going into the next section or next zone. Yeah,
it's definitely a carryover track, like keeping a ton of speed coming off the bank, and then the way you literally drive off the bank kind of makes the rest of that run. Like it's initiation and then coming off the bank, and those two things are super critical. There's the transition, the clips and all that stuff, of course, but like if you screw up that initiation, that outside zone one it's basically over at that point.
Yeah, and there's
and that could be a run. Yeah,
yeah, and there's nowhere to catch up because you only change direction once.
Yeah,
like it's over. It's you flick in and then you change direction one time, and that's the end of the lap.
Yeah, I mean we're going into New Jersey, which is basically the same as well. So it's basically the same kind of layout, just very different at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm excited for it. It should be a fun. It's always great with the crowd there. Like Jersey crowd is awesome. I mean, even last year I think it was 104 outside. It was miserable, and the crowd was still great. So I'm really, really pumped on the New Jersey events and track and everything.
What do you think it is about New Jersey in particular that like it has a feeling? I don't know if it's the history or the knowledge of the fan base, but it has a feeling. I
think also, this sounds maybe weird, but this is from the hockey background, which you could recognize this. I think there's like an us versus them that establishes right away because there's a middle section and the fans are facing the other fans. So there's kind of like a hockey game or sports feeling to the arena because it's you're facing the other people, and once they get excited, you get excited. Once like it just keeps going back and forth, so it just starts escalating so high that it's so easy to build kind of atmosphere and build culture and build excitement there. Versus when you go to a track more like let's say Utah, you're kind of just staring off into the middle of nowhere once you look past the track. So there's no one to feed the energy with you, like to feed back off of. Just like in driving, if there's someone in front of you that's just absolutely jamming or killing it, it's easy to do really good with them. But if he or she's all over the place, you're like, I'm going to back up. This looks a little scary.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never thought of it that way. That like you're forced to acknowledge the excitement of the people across from you. So you kind of have to match that energy, and then it just goes back and forth and builds.
Yeah. So I think that's why Atlanta has good energy. It's kind of like a bowl, and you can kind of see everyone, and that one's really good. Long Beach, you're facing each other in a short proximity, so that's awesome. Then you have Orlando, and it's kind of around again. It is a bigger round, but it's still around. And Orlando's energy, you saw last event, it was insane, like through the moon. So super good there. And then you go to this one, and it's the same thing. Like you're facing each other again, just straight across. So I think that's why it jams. And then you go to to St. Louis, and I think that's why St. Louis is kind of, the energy's not there because the fans are kind of far away and you can't really feel their energy back and forth. You're not driving past them in the pits. Like it's kind of too separated almost. Because, you know, like for hockey, right, when you get off the ice, you go in between all the fans that are just like going crazy. It's the same thing when you're driving through the pits or through Long Beach. Like there's just people everywhere, and it's an awesome feeling. And then we lose that in St. Louis and in Utah because it's kind of like almost separated.
Yeah, it's weird though because in Seattle we don't have it, but it's like everybody's kind of crammed into this one big grandstand. So you're not getting it across, but you're getting it next to you. Yeah.
And I think it's also being around Bowl. It's still like very, very there from Seattle. So, but I know for a fact the rounds where people can see each other straight across, it gets crazy with all the lights and the phones and people yelling and just the excitement. The energy is huge. Like when you come out and fire under the tunnel, either at Long Beach or under the tunnel at Jersey, it's a different feeling from when there's people there. Or if you go on like a practice day, you come out under the tunnel and you're like, okay, cool. Like I'm just drifting around. But when you come out and there's just crowd, like people everywhere and the stands are going nuts, it's very easy to get kind of like turned up and on point.
Yeah, that's fair. I wonder if FD will kind of, I mean, maybe I'll talk to him about it after this conversation. Be like, hey, when we're setting up grandstands for Long Beach too, we need to make sure that they're facing each other so we can get that same feeling.
I think that'd be very, very smart because the more events where they're facing each other, the excitement just gets crazy. And I think even in Drift Masters, the events where they're like what is it in Germany, Ferropolis?
Ferropolis,
Ferropolis, however you say it. They're kind of together and everyone's super excited about it. And then you take runs like Drive Center, right? Which Drive Center is a super nice track in Sweden, but you're just looking off into the middle of nothingness. Yeah. And the fans were not as engaged at all. Even though I think there's more fans there, the engagement level wasn't there. It wasn't like super crazy excitement. It was kind of like, cool, it's a drift day.
Yeah, you're projecting the energy out into nothing as opposed to having, another person receiving that energy on the other side.
Yeah, and there's no feedback either, so you don't get immediate feedback. You're kind of like, yay, was that cool? And you're like,
I don't really know. And you're looking like left, looking right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You look out of the car and you're looking around and you're like, hey, because even at the end of Utah, you kind of look up top and you look at the couple people that are on top of the building and they're like, yeah, that was cool. And you're like, okay. But Long Beach, you know right away when you did a good job or not because the crowd just lights on fire.
You can feel it. Yeah. I'm sure you can feel it in the car. Like if you can hear the crowd over the engine, you're like, oh shit, that was wild.
Oh yeah, and especially when you stop and you look back to the right and the Jumbotron's there and just people are yelling over the top and all to the left side where there's not even drifting going on over there. They just are sitting in the grandstands to the left. They're freaking out. So it's a good time.
Damn, that's wild. Yeah, that's such an interesting take on that. That's the first time I've even thought of that like the way the crowd is set up will determine kind of the feeling of the place.
I mean, that's why Romans and everything back in the day and all the like Vikings and all that would always round up all of it. So you're sitting around each other because you can create your own energy out of nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It just builds that ambiance. That's
Like, think of football games, not like U.S. football games, but actual football games. Like think of how crazy that goes. Like they get nuts. Yeah. Like the whole grandstands are shaking and stuff.
Well, in that case, it's divided into the teams as well, right? Mm-hmm. Like they'll have like, you cheer for this team, you have to go sit in this section just to even make that even better. Because then it's less about the other the other side is receiving it, but it's more of a taunt as opposed to like hyping them up. Correct. And you get like the chant wars and stuff like that. I would love to go see a proper, European football game in Europe at some point. I think that'd be kind of cool. It'd
be very cool. And I think Drift Masters kind of figured that out with that round event in Poland at the end of the year.
Yeah, in the stadium.
Yeah, it was everything I've ever seen from there. The stadium was going crazy the whole time.
Yeah.
So I like that stadium feeling.
Yeah, that's a wild event. I've never been. I mean, this will be my first year this year, but that's a wild time.
Yeah. So it's much like our Long Beach. Like I just absolutely enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I mean, I'm very, very happy with our track selection now. I think it's easy to poke holes in a lot of it, and you can find things you like or don't like about certain things. But I mean, really, we have such a good mix of kind of everything. Maybe one more big high-speed track or something like that would be cool. But I don't know.
Like some kind of outside. Well, the thing is, like big outside road courses is for drivers. But like small stadium tracks is for the fans. So
yeah.
I like both of them. The fact that we're able to do like grid lives and those type of things on the side of all the FD scheduling makes it allow us to jam on fast, high-speed tracks. So
yeah, I really think FD's in such a cool spot right now where we see this collaboration with Grid Life. We see maybe a cooperation with Drift Masters, making sure schedulings are not overlapping. Like what a really unique time where it doesn't feel like there's any like big competition in the air. It's just like, we all love this sport. What can we do as a community to make sure that we're supporting each other and we're not fighting each other? Because like, if we're going to do this, if we're going to make this as big as we want it to be, there's no point in us arguing. There's no point in us fighting. And that to me is what's going to end up making it really, really big and really successful in the coming years.
Well, and I think they've already done that. I mean, it's very, very, very similar as far as the two, Drift Masters and FD, as far as pushing forward and making sure that they put on the best show possible, to have the best drivers, have the best, like everything they could possibly get for those countries. Like, yes, there's some cool stuff that Drift Masters does. There's some cool stuff that FD does, but it's also, you have to keep in mind they're in different countries than we are. So it's like, there's a totally different game going on, but at the end of the day, it's all about drifting and just getting it out there and putting the best drivers up on it and getting it out there for the fans and the crowd to see. So I love the direction drifting's going. It's insane. Even the smaller drifting, like I'll be going to IDS in a week and a half, and that's Indonesian drift series. And same thing. I mean, they had 28,000 people show up to a like converted parking lot Formula One paddock style system that they built outside of a mall.
Wild.
So it's awesome. Like I love the direction drifting's going in.
Yeah. And that's Indonesia. Like that's not something that's really on the radar of a lot of people, right? Like that's just not something you're like, oh, like who's going to come out of Indonesia? Like what drivers are up and coming out of that area? I mean, I have no idea, and I'm pretty heavy into the sport. So that's good though, that we see that much fan base in a country we never would originally expect to see a lot of competitive drifting out of.
Well, and they're doing different things too, even at the grass level. So they have 4 or 5 levels that they have. Okay. So you can start in a brand new car, like a stock, anything stock car. And the very first level is like donut competitions. So they have like a donut, and like then they'll do 2 at the next level. Basically, it's like a figure 8 with boxes on the figure 8. And you have to drift the figure 8 and click the boxes.
Oh, that's
And you have
smart.
1 minute to figure out how to get the most boxes, like most zones filled basically in a figure 8. And anyone can do it. Like we've seen some of our friends, like wives or people, like different people driving stock M3, stock, like whatever random cars that is rear wheel drive. They just go out there. And we saw one in a brand new M4, like a 2024 M4 doing the competition, because there's nothing to hit. There's not even anything to run into, but they're like learning how to drift at a very basic level of figure 8, but they're getting rewarded for it. They're getting trophies, they're getting things. So it promotes them. And then after that, the next level is solo runs. So they literally, like you would do battles on solo runs.
Okay.
So like, let's say I run and you qualify first and I'm like 2nd or 5th or whatever else. Then we go into our bracket, top 16 bracket, and then we run. So you run a solo run, I run a solo run. Whoever wins, boom, that person moves on to the next one. And they just solo run bracket all the way down to the finals. So there's no damage in cars or vehicles except for your own. It's for people and kids who are basically not comfortable tandeming yet. And then after that, then they go into like a Pro-Am series, which is, tandem and everything like we normally do here. Then they have a Pro series as well. So
that's really smart. That's really smart.
It's really, really cool because the drivers that have come up, like the driver who won last time I drove there I think he's 12 years old, 12 or 13 years old. Safira, in a Safira.
In a Safira. Wow. Yeah, that's nuts. Like that. I mean, what a simple way. I feel like we've gotten so far away from a lot of the basics. Like I know in Europe there's a big competition called King of the Cone. I don't know if you've heard of this, but
no.
Basically you're doing donuts, but there's just a cone on the ground, and these drivers are just precision drifting around the cone without nudging it or moving it out of the box. And it's just like, how close can I get to this cone? And it was kind of like a response to stop people from street drifting and like, you know, just take like a quote unquote takeover culture. But like King of the Cone events will often get more spectators than like a local, even like pro event.
It's because anyone can do it. And I think that's where they've realized that, hold on, we need to bring this back to the basics. And then once you get the people out there and they see the drifting at the high caliper, it's insane. So they always start the show off with like the beginning drifting. And people love it. They're like, oh, he's doing, you know, he did this or this many points or whatever else. And then all of a sudden they're like, wait, they're drifting around by the walls. This is crazy. And then they're like, wait, now there's a second car out there. And then wait, they're dragging door. Like it just escalates to the whole weekend of just craziness.
Which, you know, setting up a show, that's how it should be, right? Like do something that gets people hooked and then up the stakes every single time. And then by the time the show's done, they're like, what did I just see? Like it just started with one guy doing a donut and an M3. And next thing I know, it's like a Corvette versus, you know, whatever, door to door all the way around a track. Like that'll get people hooked. And that also brings fans in. And this is something that I think gets overlooked really quickly is like, the best fans to make of the sport are the friends and family of those that are competing. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't think enough people bring out their family members like, oh, like I'm just a local pro spec driver. I'm like, sick, bring everybody out. Even if you're going to go out in top 32, who cares? Bring everyone out because that's your next group. Like that's what's keeping that local area alive. They're buying concession, they're buying merch, they're, you know, doing stuff like that. That to me is the lowest hanging fruit when we talk about like putting butts in seats. And
then all you have to do is get them in a drift car and they fall in love with it.
One time.
So
just
that's
one
it.
time.
That's all it took me was one time. So
yeah. No, I agree. I was the same way. I saw drifting. I was like, this is pretty cool. And then believe it or not, my first pro ride along was actually Jeff Stoneback in Atlanta at a Grid Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was, I was doing stunt shows at the Orange Show Pavilion, right? So I was doing stunt shows for them, like street bike stunts. And a younger kid's like, hey, you want to go for a ride along? I'm like, yeah, let's go. And he was an orange 8.6 turbo.
Okay.
And we come out of the little chute, fire down one flick, next flick, smash into the wall, like hardcore into the wall, straighten out, and we go out the exit ramp. So in between the concrete barrier, that's like we hit and went straight and went out the exit ramp. Like it could have been so bad for both of us.
Oh my gosh.
But that was my very first ride along and I loved it. And it was, Pat. From way back in the day.
Pat Sear?
No, Mordaunt.
Oh, Pat Mordaunt. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and he was like 12 years old or 14 years old or something. And what's funny is then his dad came up to me and was like, man, you did good there. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, last time he gave a ride along at Qualcomm when it was around, he ran into the pole. And I was like, oh, jeez.
So,
okay.
to like, I guess like edit a little bit of what I said. So my first pro ride along was Jeff Stoneback. My first proper ride along before that was my buddy Brandon. And I didn't even know the guy. It was like one of those, I was at a Grid Life. A friend of mine, Nate, is a photographer and was like, hey, I got this guy who drifts. You should go for a ride along with him. No idea who the guy is. We do a couple laps around Gingerman and then someone's side skirt comes off and he runs over it. Well, the side skirt got picked up by his wheel and then chucked through the shifter boot, knocked the shifter linkage and then flew into the back seat. And it broke the shifter linkage. So like he's having to reach through just to like shove it back into second so we can get around track. And then couldn't shift it anymore. And I remember we like pulled up to Grid and like Nick Swan's there and like we pull off into the grass. And before he even turns the car off, he's already got his cell phone off to like the local O'Reilly's calling to see if they have the shifter linkage he needs so he can get back out there and drift. That was my first time ever in a drift car. And I'm like, damn, these guys are nuts. Like he's all, you know, for a lot of people, you'd be like, cool, my weekend's over, my car's broken, I'm done. He's trying to, before they even tow him off track, get this car fixed. And I was like, I really like this sport, man. This is good. I like these people.
I think that's just how it is. I remember driving, doing Thursday night drifts, which I'm a huge fan of, but they used to have it at Irwindale. And I remember getting off, basically off work and having everything in the back of my car and driving down there and drifting all night and then trying to figure out how to drive home. And I've had on the BMW, there's like the Guibo, the rubber one on the bottom, and it snapped off. I remember on one of the turns and I'm like, the whole wheel just starts spinning. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a problem. And yeah, we had to get really creative. We like turned it so they kind of line up, and then like baling wire that we took off of the fence on the top of Irwindale, we just kind of took it, like twisted it off and cut it, and then just tied it around the linkage. And I drove home like that.
That's
so
funny.
yeah, you get very creative when you have to. Absolutely.
Yeah. Those, and maybe this is like going to where we're at now with like being able to kind of build a pro car, is like, are new drivers still going to have those memories? Are they still going to go through those situations where it's like anything to get back out there? Or is it going to be like, well, like put it in the trailer, we'll try again next time?
Yeah, and I don't know, because, and here's the thing, when a pro car fails and you have to put it on the trailer, it's like a catastrophic fail. You know what I mean? Because we won't put it on the trailer unless, I mean, you know, I see a rod out the side of the block or something. I'm like, guys, can't fix that one. We out. And that's about it.
I mean, I would say, what was it, Utah 2 years ago, where you guys like shipped an engine up from like California?
So yeah, we had a guy that was in Vegas who's like, hey, I'll go grab a motor for you. I said, are you sure? He's like, yeah. So I hit up Greg at Millennium Motorsports, who builds all of the LS motors. And he like darted down from Vegas, drove into San Diego basically, or like just north of San Diego, picked up the motor, and then drove 18 hours through the night to drop us off a motor. We put the motor in 4 hours in the morning, realized it's not tuned, it's nothing. It's a 6 liter, not a 7 liter. And basically at my crew chief at the time, Nikki was like on the laptop. He's not a tuner in any way. And he's in it, and he's going Holly self-learn, Holly self-learn, Holly self-learn, all the way back to the top, like to the top where we had to go, you know, because you have to drive through Utah, that whole thing. And that was the only tuning I had, is I'd do a pull and then Holly self-learn, Holly self-learn, Holly self-learn the whole way.
Wild.
And then I was like, it feels like a little down on power. He's like, it's just altitude. We're like, okay, maybe 7 liter to 6 liter. We found out that, you know how when you move the trigger wheel from the back of the LS to the front of the LS, it could be off a tiny bit, and that's like 4 or 5 degrees of timing. Yeah. So we thought we were about like 18 degrees of timing. Yeah, we're 9. So it was, it made, at full boost, it made, 440 horsepower or something. But we still drove it, did well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Jeez. Yeah, I guess, I mean, you know, retracting my previous statement, those things still happen even at the pro level. It's just everything to get out there, everything to make it happen, right?
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, I love drifting just as much as I did back when I started, probably even more, just because it's so cool. It's brought me so many places all over the world. I love driving anywhere. And I learned so much from different people and different cultures and little tricks and like crazy things. I'm always learning something new every day, like all the time.
Yeah. It's you become a collector of things and memories and weird tricks and tips and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially too, like today in the $600 car, it broke the fan shroud, because basically the motor mount broke, and then the fan hit the fan thing and like destroyed everything. Luckily, it didn't puncture the radiator. So Matthew was like, okay, we're done. We'll load it up. I'm like, done. I'm like, we're going to hot wire the front fan, and the AC fan's going to work, and it's going to cool us down the whole time. We'll be good. So plug that in, and it was like, I was like, okay, this fan isn't going to work. Hold on. And all I did was walk one person next to me. I was like, hey, do you have any kind of cooling anything for a 36? Like a radiator fan, AC fan, or a fan clutch or anything? He's like, I got this one. Here's a universal 16-inch. I'm like, I'll make it work.
Done.
So it was there, and he was very amazed, because he's like, you can just go ask for stuff. Like, people will help you. I'm like, yeah, it's not road racing world. It's a very different world. Like, you can literally walk into anyone's pit up and down. Like, someone will help you. Like, you'll figure something out. Yeah. So he was ready to give up, and now he's actually still driving. They're driving till midnight tonight. So
oh, no way.
I came home to be on here with you guys and get away from the heat. It was 114 degrees outside.
Oh, dude.
So it was probably one of the hottest days up there I've been at.
I was complaining it was like 95 at OSW today.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's brutal. I mean, different heat too, but yeah,
correct.
It's that's still crazy hot, though. Yeah, still hot. But you know, go out, drive. You know, you deal with the heat, drink lots of fluids, and you just go and drive. You're like, we're lucky to be out here, right? Yeah, exactly.
Like PDLA knockoff or whatever this is.
Dude, that stuff is so key. Anything with just electrolytes and salts in it, I think you've got to get it in you. You're gonna sweat so much of that out. If you're sweating and you feel gritty, that means that you need salt back in your body really bad.
And I try and wear the sleeves, so like you still have air, but you got the sleeves on, so you don't get burned.
I need to start doing that. I really do.
But you're just trying to show off your sleeves. It's a different game.
I know. See, it's the different. I paid for all this art, man. Like you gotta. It's so hard to hide it. It's like it's like driving.
Look at
it's like fresh painted car, and you keep a shroud on it, or you keep a cover on it the whole time. Like
Yeah. So we actually had a really good Beam team. Brian, who's one of the drivers, we started learning how to drive with him and his brother Tyler drive together, and they always have this really cool purple car.
Okay.
And I remember we went to an event. This comes off of what you just said. They got the car freshly painted, and then they're like, "All right, cool," and they put a car cover on it. And like 3 days later, pulled the car cover off to go to the event, and then the whole car was fuzzy. Because the fuzzy on the car cover stuck to the paint that hadn't cured all the way, so it looked like a fuzzy like Barney car. The whole thing was fuzzy, and I was like, "Did you do that on purpose?" And they're like, "No, this is bad, like real bad."
You almost have to like take a tiger torch to the whole thing and burn like the fuzzies on your sock, right? You
It like
light
won't come off. It was so bad.
Oh my,
They had to cut it all the way back down and start over.
oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So if you have a fresh paint job, don't put a fluffy car cover, because he thought the soft car cover would like not scratch the paint. Yeah, it didn't scratch the paint because it just became part of it.
I thought you were going to tell me it scratched the hell out of it, like fresh, because it was so soft. I didn't even think it would embed the fibers into it. Damn.
No one did. He went to peel it off. He's like, "Hey guys, can you help me get the car cover off?" And it was like peeling off.
Reminds me, do you remember like the original Matilda movie where she like glues her dad's hat to his head?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Anyways, there's a scene in the original Matilda where Danny DeVito's the dad, but the daughter Matilda glues his hat to his head, and he has to like peel the hat off. And there's little bits of hat left on his head all the way around. That was like the first thing I thought of, was just bits of this car cover coming off. Jeez, that's brutal. Yeah. I don't think I've done anything that bad. There's probably some mosquitoes in my paint job now because I did the whole thing in the driveway. So I'm sure there's some bugs that are like embedded somewhere in the single stage paint, but it's a drift car. It's fine.
It'll be fine.
As long as it looks all right in motion, that's it. As long as like when you're driving it, no one can tell how bad it is.
Especially when people walk close to the FD cars. Like they look good from the grandstands. If you guys get too close, you're like, this thing has some problems. I'm like, yeah, I opened the door, the rocker panel's all caved in. I mean, my floor's caved in on the other side from going, Christmas tree hunting up in Utah. So looking for some discount Christmas trees out in the woods. So that was a good time. I mean, yeah, the car's been through a lot, that one series.
I feel like all of your cars have though, like they've all been through big wrecks at some point in time. I think that's like a staple.
The Jax was the freshest car, and then Atlanta.
Oh, I know.
Then we're like, well, no more fresh cars.
Yeah. That hit was bad, but I think he came out of it all right. Now, obviously I didn't have to fix it, so I don't know exactly how bad it was, but it didn't seem as bad as right before he hit the wall, I went, oh, this is it. This car's done. And then I was like, oh, it doesn't actually seem that bad.
Yeah, bash bar and stuff did its job. Everything kind of pushed over out of the way. Nothing really, it wasn't too structurally bad, but the subframes on the front of those cars are aluminum. Okay. So as soon as you hit anything, they just disintegrate into pieces. And that's really what the bad part is. So then they break, and then when you try and put the new aluminum one on, nothing lines up again. So you have to pull the frame rails and move them all around, and then finally it'll go back together.
Have you, I'm assuming you have, but have you chatted with Kevin about running an aftermarket subframe in that? Like if there's some...
They don't really make
write
one.
in rules. Yeah.
We found a steel one actually out of an all-wheel drive, but the geometry is totally different.
Really? Oh, because it's got to have CVs that run through it. And
so there's a lot of wacky stuff with it. Like the pickup points aren't the same. The bolt holes are the same, but the pickup points and stuff are not the same. So it's kind of different. I think we just lost you.
Oh, lovely. My camera decided to die. Give me 1 second.
This is a fun part. Oh, there's a whale too. Look at this big one. Hold on. So can I pull this thing in? Oh, he's back. I gotta hide. Look.
All right, back to our regularly scheduled programming. The joys of running a podcast. There's like a power outlet that is supposed to keep batteries and backup done, and apparently was unplugged. So always a good time. But I mean, it's like running a drift car. You think you've got everything sorted. You've got a good system in place. It's worked forever, and then just all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's an unexpected thing that I never would have seen coming.
That was my LS car yesterday. We took it out for the first time basically the second time, but first time since LS Fest with like the white to pink fade livery. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
Yeah, I did. It looks really good.
Thank you. I was really scared of the like floral cherry blossoms on the side because I've seen really bad vinyl cherry blossoms. And I did not want, I know you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you mean.
I did not want that to happen. So I was like, you think we could do it good? And they're like, if it doesn't look good, I'm not going to print it. I'm like, okay, let's send it. And then it came out quite good the way I wanted it. So, but anyways, back to what you were saying is basically, I don't think I made a complete lap in that thing. Thursday night drift at Orange Show. Like it just, first lap out, I had pedal disconnect problems, which I've never had it before. Just when it hit red line, pedal just shuts off. So we played with that, got that figured out. Then hydro didn't work because I went to an inline hydro. I was talking to Travis basically and was like, hey, there's a lot of calipers back here. Like there's 4 calipers, a lot of stuff moving on. I need to lose weight out of the car. I've never ran an inline hydro before. Like, what's the plan? So he kind of told me how to do it. I did it. It didn't work, but not because of him, but because of me. When the second set of pads got hot, the ones I wasn't using, the ones that were capped off, when they got hot, they drug on the on the rotor. So I thought it was my inline locking up, but it was the pads that weren't even connected, but had a plug in them that were locking up. So I took those rotors off. That fixed that problem. So I got that all good to go. And then I have like a battery isolator set up, like kill switch that kills the ground side, like we used to have in most of the drift cars. And it was getting like fire hot, like you couldn't even touch it. And it would just shut the car off randomly. So halfway through one run, it just go, and everything shuts off. Just, controller disconnect scenario. So couldn't figure out what it was. They put my hand back there, burned my hand. I was like, well, that's probably that item that's on fire. Let's get rid of that. So I had to rewire some other stuff and just ran kind of no kill switch scenario for the rest of the event. So yeah, we're getting there. Because I want to drive it in hot pit. That's what my goal is, to try and figure out how to turn the Magnuson supercharger down so it can still be used on a 300 treadwear tire. Because right now, at below 3,000 RPM, it made 980 to the wheels torque before 3,000 RPM. And on a 255, 300 treadwear, it's not going to live. Like, the car is undrivable. So we figured out a way of turning the blower down, taking power out of it, and then we're just trying to figure out how if the pedal will go back to connect and not disconnect. So
yeah, it's weird. I don't know very much about drive-by-wire, so that's a whole other can of worms.
I don't either. I've always drove cable, but they're like, hey, let's do this. It'll probably save some motors, some valve train stuff. Because, when Connor was driving the car, we went through a couple motors from drivetrain issues. Because Connor drives it like a 2J, which is banging red line everywhere.
Yeah.
And LS, you can't do that. It's got little push rods. It doesn't live like that.
It's not happy about that.
Not at all.
What's that been like now? I guess, really as a team owner of like the infrastructure and the planning and the budgeting, and like, I don't think there's a lot of money to be made running cars for other pro drivers, to be perfectly honest. If there is any money to be made.
If there is, let me know how to do it, because it's not, I'm not on that side.
I've heard enough, and I've you know how the pits are, like the pits talk, like the pits are alive, there's discussion. And admittedly, it's pretty open. I would think even the last couple of years about the financial side of things. It feels more open the last 2 or 3 years. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot of money to be made doing that. But how has that been in general, just being a team owner and setting up these like arrive and drive programs?
It's been a lot extra for me.
Okay.
Because now I'm concentrating on my car, which the 1 Series, let's back up to the Connor scenario. Yeah. That was not supposed to happen in any way.
Right. That was very last minute.
Connor, and we didn't even know Connor was coming over. Basically, I got a phone call from WiseFab, and Tarmo was like, hey, bro, if I bring a driver over for the WiseFab event, like, do you think you can support him with a car? I'm like, yeah, I could. Dude, I have 2 cars. Like I'm sure I can figure out between Senate Sally and the LS car. Like they can drive one of my cars. We'll make it happen. He's like, all right, cool. I'll bring someone over. So I didn't even know who was coming over. Had no idea. And then he came. Then he gets there and he's like, hey man, I'm here. I brought Connor with me. I was like, I don't really know much about Connor because I didn't really watch Drift Masters back then. Tell you the truth, it sounds funny, but I didn't have time. So I was like, all right, cool, yeah, Connor. Oh, nice to meet you. And I was like, oh wait. You were the one who just won Drift Masters, right? And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, super sick, cool. Came by, kind of saw the setup, and he's like, oh, you build your race cars like out of this garage? I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, I love this. This is so much cooler.
Yeah.
Like, this is rad. I was like, and he's like, it looks bigger on TV or like, you know, when he's seen it before. He's like, I didn't know this is literally a 1-car garage. I'm like, yeah, it's a 1-car garage. So he's like, rad, awesome, loved it.
Yeah.
I guess it's similar to how they build cars at home. Like they don't have a
Very, very
crazy
similar.
big shop. He loved it. So we're talking and he's like, okay, cool. And I was going to drive my 1 Series and I was going to let him drive Senate Sally, which is basically back then was my full street car, just wrapped the same as a pro car for promotional purposes. And he's like, oh, yeah, that'll be cool. M50 turbo, nice. And then he goes in the garage and he's like, oh, this is the pro car from last year, right? I was like, yeah, E36. I'm just kind of refreshing it. The whole rear end was missing. So radiator back was off, all the body panels, everything. He's like, man, I've always wanted to drive like a proper like LS car, like a proper E36 car. This thing is sick. I'm like, oh, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So he left that night and I'm like, I don't know when he's going to get the chance to come back over. I guess I'm putting this thing back together. I'm like, hey, babe, like, I got to put this car back together. So
Not going to bed. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So I put the whole car together that night, put the quick change back in it, put the rear radiator on it, put everything back on, all the rear body panels on it, and I put it in the trailer. And then I continued to finish the 1 Series and put that on the back of the Togi, the little tow truck. Pulled that all out, and we drive up there. We drive in the tow truck, and Tarmo drives my truck and trailer because I felt safer with him driving that than the right-hand drive tow truck that might struggle. So I was like, I'll drive this thing. So we get up there and I unload the 1 Series and then we go to unload the thing and I unload the door and he's like, wait, like what car is that? Like, wait, isn't that your pro car? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, that's sick, man. And then he kind of got down. And he's like, so what am I going to drive? I'm like, no, that's what you're going to drive. He's like, wait, what? Like he was super, super stoked on it. And then, yeah, I mean, fast forward from then, that was 2 weeks before Long Beach.
Yeah.
And the 1 Series was never supposed to be a pro car. It was supposed to be a fun, like, grid life practice car. And at the end, he's like, hey, what would it take for me to have to drive, or for me to drive this car in FD? And I'm like, well, I guess that means I got to drive the 1 Series. He's like, I'll help you try and set it up and figure it out. I said, okay. So that's how that whole thing happened. So like being a team owner, I don't know if I call it that, is kind of like a dude with a spare car. And we made it happen. We made all last year happen. He ended up on the podium. He won 2 events in the thing. I mean, like, dude, killed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely killed it in a car he's never drove before. So, and on the wrong side because he had only drove left-hand drive like a handful of times ever. Mm-hmm. So it was that. And then at the end of the year, he's like, hey, man, I'm going to be doing my own thing. I got some financial backing. Like some of the companies stepped up in a big time way. Like I'm going to be doing my own deal. I just wanted to say thank you. Like, I really appreciate it. I said, yeah, dude, no worries. And then Jack, like, approached me. He's like, hey, I was talking to a couple other drivers. I really loved, like, what you were able to do with my brother, especially on so low budget. Like, what do we need to do to make this happen? And are you willing to kind of take me on as a driver? I'm like, well, I guess. Like, can you drive left-hand drive? He's like, no. I'm like, shit.
Well, that just made things difficult. Yeah.
Okay. He's like, can you convert E36 to right-hand drive? I'm like, not really, because the dash is physically different. Like the firewall is physically different on the cars. It's not like a newer car where they're interchangeable, but the panels and the floors are actually different. They're flipped over. So I was like, I don't know if I can make an LS right-hand drive converted E36 header car. Like this is way too much for me. But I have a 1 Series in the backyard that's supposed to be my new shell for my totaled car that's sitting in the garage that I started to take apart. What if I convert the car in the backyard, put a cage in it, and convert it to right-hand drive, and we have 2 cars that I didn't like and double down on 2 1 Series? And he's like, yep, let's go for that one. So that's happened. The go-ahead on that was like February.
Okay.
So that's when we figured out that I had to build another car. And I was gone all of February overseas. So I got back at the beginning of March and was like, cool, cut half the cage off, make it now right-hand drive, convert everything to right-hand drive, get all the body panels and everything. And all right, we're going to do M50 turbo. And then we realized like laying it over isn't going to work. And the drive shaft or steering shaft and headers and all that was too much to deal with. Yeah. So Sam's like, hey, how about you do S54 and we'll stand her up? And I'm like, wait, so now I have a new car and 2 new engines and a new engine platform and a new driver.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. I'm like, sounds great. How many weeks do we have? 3? okay, not going to sleep much on this one. And we went to S54. Much more powerful engine. I mean, Sam over there, Sam Magmami, who drives ProSpec, is the one who builds our engines. And he's like, dude, the S54 is a rocket ship. They're so good. So I was like, okay, I trusted you to go M50 turbo. That was the jam. Like, let's try the next mission. Who cares? I mean, I've already doubled down on the 1 Series. Let's double and triple down on some S54s. Like, let's make it happen, buddy. And he bought a bunch. He bought, the timing hat was perfect. He bought all the spare parts and leftover parts from ESSA, because ESSA was like on a fire sale of everything.
Right.
So Sam's like, bro, I got 4 of them. We'll put 1 in my car, 1 in your car, 1 in Jack's car, and have 1 spare. I'm like, yeah, it kind of adds up. Let's go for it. So we do all that. We get it all going. He got them. He's like, we're pumping. This is Thursday before FD. Oh, no. Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday before FD. We went to Apple Valley to test, and we blew one up.
Yeah.
Jacks came apart. And we're like, dude, we have 24 hours till we load into Long Beach, and we do not have a spare motor. Like, we're in trouble. So we got there. We pulled the motor out. Sam basically took the other block that we were supposed to build as a spare, converted everything, built everything, brought it to the machine shop. They worked late, like everything. And then the engine didn't run, but it had to be in the car for weigh in and for everything for tech. So we pushed the car into Long Beach, pushed it on Kevin's like tech thing. We passed tech and then pushed it back out and went back to the shop and kept working that whole night, tuned it, everything else, and then brought it first thing in the morning. So me and the team hadn't slept in like 61 hours before first practice. And then I just go right out there into first practice at Long Beach. So in a car that Jack had tested like 3 laps before it came apart. We think a rod bolt broke, like on like literally a bolt broke. Because all it did was go like 1 piston just came out, destroyed the crank, and went out the bottom. And we're like, and there was no damage, there's no heat, there's no problem, nothing else was bent. Just 1 rod went straight out. So something had to have broken. Like that's the only explanation for it is rod bolt break failure.
Yeah, there's no like pre-dad or anything on the cylinder head. There was like no heat soaking in the rings. It was just like clean, like someone extracted it out. I mean, other than it's very violent exit.
Yeah, that was it. That's why we're like, what is going on here? And the bolt was in on one side, cap was broken off, and the stud was broken off inside, like sheared off inside. So that tells me that it just snapped off.
Sheared. Yeah.
So we're like, that's cool and convenient right now. So
I mean, yeah, it's one of those you almost kind of wish it would have happened in competition, only because then it's like, okay, well at least this is over and we can figure it out later. It happened. Like I know that sounds terrible.
No, but I like, get your point.
Yeah.
At least at that point, you're like, there's no way I can rebuild this entire motor in the next 5-minute call. So I'm out.
Yeah.
But this is like, you got 24 hours. There's a chance. You can probably make this happen. And I'm like, you're kidding me right now.
I think what I've learned is like, never give you a chance. Like if there's a chance that you could get back out there, I think we talked about it in the last show, but like you and Pro 2 in Texas, when you like almost like had to ratchet strap the rad to the back of the dude, I was like, holy shit, he made it back out. Like if there's an opportunity for you to get back out there, it's going to happen, or you're going to die on your shield trying to make it happen.
Pretty much, yeah. I remember that thing looked like a doom buggy at the end.
Oh, dude, it was wild.
They're like, sir, you can't bring that car. And I'm like, sir, that's the same car I started with. I apologize.
Because there's like a slow-mo clip of like the whole rad coming out and just like shooting down the track, and like there's water spraying everywhere, and you're just in the seat like this, so the whole thing's just wild.
What was crazy is luckily the Halo's like I have the NRG like carbon seat, so the Halo's protected me super well. And I remember coming on and coming on the radio and be like, all right guys, I'm okay. Like, what's the damage? They're like, dude, you haven't talked to us in over a minute. We thought you were dead. I'm like, wait, what? So I was out for a while, bro. Like before I came back. Yeah. And then I remember all the teams are coming over. They're thrashing. They're trying to get it all back together. We get it all back in. And Sean Adriano was like, I think you're missing something. And I'm like, no, everything's good because the heat exchanger is in front of the radiator. So the heat exchanger stayed in the car for the supercharger. And then like I looked down and the radiator hoses are just sitting there, like not attached to anything. I'm like, wait, where's the radiator? Like, we had to go back out on track to go find the radiator because we didn't even know we lost it.
Oh man, that's nuts. That's nuts. But I mean, it just shows the perseverance you've got. I don't know where you get that motivation from. I honestly wish I had more of it, because like I'll look at those opportunities for you and be like, holy shit, you're just gonna go for it. Whereas so many other people would be like, nah, we're done. Like that's it. Like I'm defeated. Like you don't know the word die, man.
Well, think about this, right? The first time I met you was in Erie.
Right.
And we had to do a commentary speaking with like one microphone, passing it down the line and over, and like
between three people.
Here, you say something, hold on, you say something over there.
It was good. It was good. It was fun.
It was just a lot of work, because we're like trying to figure out who's trying to say the next thing without missing any part of it. And I remember in there, you're like, man, it'd be awesome if I could be, like commentating for FD or for Drift Masters or anything. And look where you are now, buddy.
I know. It's just, I always look at other people and try and find, like, admittedly, I have pretty crazy imposter syndrome, especially this year. Like, it hasn't hit me. It has not hit me the position that I'm in, which is good and bad. It's good because I think it's really pushing me to continue to do more, to do better, to like not rest on my laurels, to, just keep pushing for more. But also, I don't know when it's going to hit me where I'm just going to have this moment of like, holy shit, I'm doing all of this stuff. Like, this is all happening. This is real life. I'm hoping it happens like in the privacy of my own home and not like, not like
major
on a
meltdown.
microphone. Yeah. Like this
no
existential crisis just hits me all of a sudden. Like, I told this story before where I realized, but it did not hit me that I had a son until his first birthday. It took an entire year. Like, I knew I had a kid. He came home with us. Like, there was never like I forgot that I had a child, but like, it truly didn't sink in that this was my child until his first birthday. Everyone was there. My family was there. My mom, my stepdad, my dad, like everybody was there. Like, everyone put aside any family issues that were going on, and just, they were there because of this thing. My child, my son. You know what I mean? And I remember sitting on my front porch, my wife's there, and my wife's like, are you okay? Like, you look like you're pale, like you're in shock. I'm like, we have a child. She's like, yeah, it's his birthday. I'm like, I know, but like, this is ours. He's our child. We made that human being. She's like, did it just hit you? I'm like, yeah, it just hit me that this is our kid. So
you've had him for a year, sir.
Yeah. But like, I'm fully aware, I guess that's how I'm programmed. So I'm very concerned that moment's going to hit me at a really bad time. So I'm hoping it's like maybe the FD Awards banquet or something, where like the year's over and I'm like, man, I just did the two largest series in the world of our motorsport and the podcast and whatever else is happening. Like, holy shit. So
it was a lot in 1 year.
It's a lot in 1 year, man. But like, I mean, flipping it back on your side of things, I'm sure you've had those same moments where you're like, I'm driving in this crazy motorsport and being flown all over the world to do all these events. I have international drivers calling me to come drive my cars, and I'm building in one bay garage, and I'm still making it work. I'm showing up to every single event. We're not backing out. We're still doing the thing. Any opportunity to still compete, I'm taking it. Like, and that's still nuts.
And they're competitive, and we're competitive.
Yeah. And on top of all that, you're both driving really well, and both cars are driving well. Like, that's
we're
pretty
in
crazy.
Kind of a tough car. I know it sounds funny, but there's a lot of people that have failed to make this car work, because I don't know. I don't know if I don't recommend it, but it's a unique car to get to work, because the suspension is so finicky on when it works, and the right ride height, and the aluminum front subframes and everything breaking in the rear subframes, and like, kind of in a funny thing too is, yes, we have a one car garage that we build it in, but I'm also running a 24-foot Featherlight trailer. We're on a one car trailer, and we're technically running 3 cars out of it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then this year, as you saw, is we took on Carson as well, which Carson was my crew chief. So my crew chief, we built him a car. He's in an E92 in Pro Spec. So technically we have 4 cars that is running out of a 24-foot Featherlight trailer.
It's nuts.
It's pretty crazy. So we have a 4-person team.
Speaking of Carson, he's driving really well. One, I don't know how you get his seating position correct because of how tall he is.
Just all the way in the trunk, just all the way back there as far as I can. He's tall. He's 6'11". He's got James by like 2 or 3 inches.
That's wild.
Like, to put that into perspective, I mean, when he sits in the car, I can take the seat out and he almost sits his head on the roof, sitting flat on the bottom of the floor on an E92.
Oh, that's wild.
Because originally he's like, "Oh, I want to build it. Like, let's build an E36." I'm like, "Bro, you don't fit."
No.
And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, you don't fit." Like, he looked like.
I just thought of this, like the steering column rules. Like, it's not like you could do an aftermarket steering column, move everything back and pedal box and move it. Like,
pedal. No, everything's stock. I got that whole thing to work, all stock. NRG
that might be your greatest accomplishment, is fitting a 6'11" person E92 race car.
Dude, and NRG built me a 4-inch spacer to get the steering wheel close enough to him. So he's got a 4-inch spacer plus a quick release, which is another 3 inches. So he's like way back here chilling.
Damn, that's wild.
Yeah, it's funny when I drive it. I feel like a little kid because I have to sit on the front edge of the seat because I can't touch the pedals. I'm like, bro, I can't see over the dash. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a wild year though, dude. Like that's nuts. I'm hoping the 1 Series kind of becomes what we're seeing with the Supra now, where it took a really long time for the Supra to be competitive, and arguably still not the best chassis that we have right now.
You realize the 2 cars that you're kind of comparing it against have the same exact problem because they're the exact same chassis underneath. Same front subframe, same rear subframe.
Yeah. But this is what I'm getting at, is like the 8.6. I mean, really, when the 8.6 came out, it suffered from a very similar thing as well. Tiny suspension travel in the rear. If you want a full breakdown on that, Chelsea Denofa did a whole video about why he hates that chassis. And I don't know if you've seen it, but he cannot stand that chassis. Maybe he's changed his mind now, but not a ton of suspension travel, not built for the adjustability that we've got now. Thankfully, BMW simplified their suspension geometry a little bit. But as you said, the window for getting the ride height correct and rebound and compression and everything else correct is so narrow in those cars.
It's like 10 mil.
Yeah.
Literally a 10 millimeter up or down, the rear suspension doesn't work in the car. It starts to like toe out under throttle, toe in off throttle, like do wacky stuff. Like the opposite of what you want.
Yeah.
So Weisshoff has done Weisshoff have done a really good job to try and mellow it out because stock is like super crazy. Ask Chelsea about how the 1 Series worked. He's like, bro, I'm gonna build a 1 Series. I'm going to Drift Week in the 1 Series. He's like, this is the worst idea I've ever had. This thing's horrible. Like, he hates it. Absolutely hates it.
And that's another, brilliant suspension mind, right? Like arguably one of the best suspension minds we have in the game. And he's like, I'm not a fan. So
even Odie was not a fan. Odie drove. He's like, I don't know what to do, bro. I don't know how to help you. And I'll give my secret away. We just kept going up in spring rate. So when you corner balance the car, the rear corner bounces out to like 4, almost 5. Is like what you would run, like a 5K spring or a 4K spring, which kind of makes sense. Dude, I think we're 14K right now. Like, we just keep going up and up and up and up to try and not like limit the messed up movement of the rear end.
Interesting. So you're just trying to like stiffen up the rear so much because of how dynamic it can be under compression. So you're like, okay, but if there's no compression, then it can't be dynamic.
So we got some Kumo tires that are 295/40 sidewall that does all my dynamicing. And I just run off of the big balloon tire. That's what we had to figure out. Oh, yeah. It was not working on the Vitor because the Vitors are very low, like a 35, a 275 35 or 285 35. And this is a 295 40. And I think 40 is generous. It's more like a 45 sidewall. It's like a GT radio or something.
Right.
But they're really good. So, like, dude, the Kumo tires are literally what saves us. Like, that's what fixes the kind of the wackiness.
Yeah, they seem to react similar to the Nittos in that regard. I like just the amount that's there. Although what I find interesting is like how much the Nittos balloon out on the sides. Yeah. And if you really watch those cars drive, like they're almost on sidewall when they're on that trend. Yeah. Like, and the tires are built that way. The tread wraps to make that happen. So
I know. I look over and see James like 3-wheeling. I can probably change his, whatever, spark plugs from the bottom or something, or do an oil change of the car. He's 3-wheeling the whole track.
Yeah. It's cool. I never thought of that. I mean, that's like almost like go-kart kind of thing where you're like changing tire pressure to get the suspension.
And that's I don't know. We just it got better at like 6K, then got better at 8K, then got better at 10K, then got better at 12K, then got better at 14K, then 16K. I was like, oh, this is pretty bad. And then it's like an S chassis on cut springs from like back in the day, bad. Like just rattles you around the track. So then we went back down to 14K, and then like I think last event we ran like a 12K or something in the rear, a little bit softer for the bottom bank. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Like it's the opposite I've ever dealt with, because at 36 you can't mess it up if you try. Like they work no matter what. If they're too low, they don't work great, but they still work. They're still drivable. They're
still bitey. Yeah.
This thing is not drivable because if you get it too low or too high, like I said, on throttle, it toes out. So you have no on throttle. Then when you let off throttle, it starts to toe in, right? So as you're on, let's say you're drifting one way and you're on throttle, trying to get going. It's towing out. It doesn't want to go forward. And as you let off to get to the middle of the transition is where you have the most grip. So you have the most grip as it gets to the middle of transition, the car gets stuck, and then there's no grip again when you go the other way. And because it's so towed in, it just dead slides.
Oh my God.
And then when you get on throttle, it comes back out and it doesn't go forward either.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
First time I drove it, I was like, this was the worst decision I've ever had. Like, where's my E36 back?
Yeah. I think I could probably get a pro car to drift, but I am not a pro drifter by any means. Like the amount of struggles you guys go through, and I feel bad sometimes because I'll like critique on the broadcast. I'm like, why? Like, I couldn't do this. I couldn't even come close to this. If I could even touch one of these zones, I'd be very proud of myself. Yeah. And then it's like, yeah.
You found a word that you got hung up on in Drift Masters. It was pretty funny. What was it?
Oh, I can't remember. I had to like push over it.
Well, it's something with an S.
Well,
not sketchy. There was, what's the other word? It was one of those, and I kept laughing every time he said it. It was, scrappy. Scrappy.
Yeah.
Like, that was a scrappy run. I'm like, bro, these guys are driving in the rain. It's like patchy, super sketchy. Like, yes, it might be a little scrappy. Like, we're trying not to die out here.
I know. It's so difficult, man. Like, it's funny. I've adjusted a lot, especially this year. I've very consciously adjusted a lot of the way that I'm communicating, because just feedback from you guys, like, oh, sweet, we got Cat in frame too.
I know. He's
the
trying
views
to mess
just
his
immediately
whole
go
program
up. Yeah, no, the views just go up. As soon as there's a cat or a dog, man, we just like double the views immediately. But no, this year I've made a conscious effort to change the way that I'm doing what I do, because like I realized that if I'm not being positive about the sport and about the drivers and everything else, it's of no benefit. Like I can still call and critique and call out things that need to be better. But if the entire run is just me shitting on a driver, that is no benefit to anybody. So it's like finding that balance of, okay, keep this entertaining, keep it truthful, because I don't want to like talk about a run that's just god awful and try to be like, this is the greatest run we've ever seen. And then still be able to provide feedback and knowledge to the people at home and teach them why a run could be good or bad. So it's like to balance all of those things has been that's the most difficult part of what I have to do.
Well, yeah, and you're a human being, so you see it from a point of view, and it's like it's when you see one run that's super good and then the next run that's not very good, it's very easy to say, oh, that one's not that good or whatever else, because it isn't. But then when you compare it, it's because like it was full rain when he drove and it's half rain with patches on that one. That's hard to explain to everyone watching. Like, why is that run look so bad from both the lead and the chase? Well,
yeah,
conditions changed radically out there. Like I was watching you guys drive or everyone drive, and that was not fun looking. It was quite rough.
Patchy's the worst. Like, I mean, it's good for me because it gives me a lot to talk about, like where the track is drying and where, like what drivers have to do. Like for me, it's like, okay, cool. There's something to talk about. There's just a new thing that we can focus on, and it's a conversation piece, and it's changing every lap, and it's like, cool. But to drive in, I'm sure it's an absolute nightmare for you guys. Like,
well, and no one got sight laps, right? So you just guess. You're like, well, maybe the bank will be grippy. Nope, the bank is loose now, which makes no sense why the bank was loose because the water runs off the bank first. So that's why I was very confused on watching them on what was going on. So
I think a lot of it was like the tires were just so cold getting up to that point that like there was just no grip in the tire whatsoever. So that's my theory on it is like, it's just you're running a cold, hardened tire, and a lot of drivers were really trying to heat them up like a ton in the burnout box, like a lot. And I think it helped, but it doesn't matter. You run that long in the wet, there's not a lot of heat left in that tire.
And that big puddle right before the bank, I think would flash the tires and then like almost heat cycle flash them. And then there's nothing around the corner.
Yeah. And you've got you have to burn through that top layer. For anybody listening at home, like when you heat cycle a tire, you'll often, it depends on the tire and the compound and all that stuff, but you'll often get like this really tough, rock hard surface on the outer level of the tire. And depending on how hot the tire was before and how quickly it flashes off, that thick, kind of useless area can actually go for a very long time in the tread. Yeah. So it's you'll see it. I mean, it's good for party drifting. That's why you'll see like water pits and party drifting, because it actually will help prolong the life of the tire. But in competition, it is brutal.
Yeah, it's just super inconsistent. Especially when you're used to a tire being one way the whole time or all practice, then all of a sudden it's something different. And you're judging, I mean, what is it, millimeters now? They've got down to like...
I can do both, baby.
I know, I was very proud of you. I was like, oh man, this guy's killing it up there. He's got both going on.
I'm Canadian, man. I mean, I know metric better than I know imperial. But like, I think in metric and then have to convert to imperial. I mean,
well, because metric is tens. And 10 makes way more sense than all these crazy fractions and 164, 32nd, 64th. And I'm like, what? How many? There's a full diagram of how the entire like imperial measurement system works. And it is obscene how nothing connects. And it's just all these different things. And I don't know. It felt like just such a democratic system that was developed where it's like, everybody's got all these different ways of measuring. We're going to try and make them all work. Like, we're just going to keep everyone happy. Whereas like the metric system's like, no, this is just how it is. And what's interesting is the metric system is based almost solely on water. It actually now is based on like the atomic level where like a kilogram or a gram is actually based on a certain amount of hydrogen atoms. You might have to correct me on that one. But I won't know. I agree with you though.
One liter of water, like 1 metric liter of water is 1 kilogram. So at sea level, right? And 0, it freezes. And at 100, it boils. Like it just, the whole thing makes way more sense.
It's simple numbers. We got 12s and all these other random 30s and like
32 and 212.
And 3 and like, we're like, what? And none of it adds up because 12 12s doesn't go to the next level.
No.
Like 10 12s goes to the next level. And you're like, wait, how does this add up again?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many like that. Even like decibels, like decibels are all exponential. So like, 11 decibels is not 1 up. It is a full exponential increase up to the next level. So it's just, anyways.
Doesn't make any sense. So
no, it keeps it interesting though. It keeps your brain working, but yeah.
So, but what do you got? What else?
Oh man, I mean, really, like, what do you have? What is your plan for this season? Because, like, in my mind, and I've had a lot of conversations with Jack. The crash in Atlanta was weird. Him and I like sat down and broke it down and had a lot of convos about it. Because at first I was like, admittedly, I was like, something broke in the car. He's being diplomatic. No,
don't you come looking at me.
I can say this to you,
I'm just messing with you. We thought something broke in the car too.
Yeah, because the way it looked. Yeah, the way it looked, it was like he went to transition, power steering died. He just gripped the wheel for all dear life, and it just shot over. What he broke it down was kind of a scenario where the track was patchy. And where it was supposed to make grip and where it did make grip was very different from what he anticipated. And the front end bit before the rear end did, and it just turned and went into the wall. There's nothing he could do about it.
Now, there was some added factors to that, which I don't know if he included. but
He might have.
he left the car on high map. So let me give you some numbers here. Low map is like 700, which is what I run the car at. It's like 760, which is literally what I run the car. Even in Orlando, I ran like 760, just under 800. Somewhere in that range. It's wastegate spring, so nothing too crazy. High map, his car at high map with the bigger turbo, which we went to the smaller turbo now, but the bigger turbo made 1180 to the wheels.
Okay.
So he was 1180 with a 50 shot of nitrous to spool the car in the rain.
That's a lot.
So when he flaked and lit up, it lit up. There's no way those rear tires are going to hold that. Like,
Yeah.
it lit. And because the front tires were almost the same speed as like land speed, basically, the front had grip still in it. And he said he just wasn't ready for it to step out that fast. But also, like, that's a fast car. Like, it's by far the fastest car I've ever drove was the 1 Series, which already tries to kill you as a chassis. That's why we have Viking names for our cars, because that's what it feels like. And but they make so much power so crazy fast that it's insane. We turned them down. They only revved to 9,000 now. They like Sam's originally, when he revved it, almost revved to 1,100. It was like 10.8 something, and we're like, dude, it's too much wheel speed. So we're just getting used to them.
I'd be amiss if I didn't ask you what the Viking names were of the cars.
So mine was Val, which is just easy name to remember. But it was for Valkyrie, basically, because, Valkyrie comes down, like, takes you. That's what I felt like. Because, dude, the car, like, I felt like the car's tried to kill me many times, and you'll be sending it, it'll just, like, do something crazy because of how dynamic the car moved around. It's better now, but at the beginning it was really bad, very unpredictable. And then his is Lagatha, because he kept complaining the car was laggy. And I'm like, bro, it's not laggy. Like, it just makes power later. So he named it Lagatha, but Lagatha is also like from Ragnarok's wife or whatever that whole thing is from Vikings. And it would just happen to be like a funny scenario that's what it is. Yeah.
It just worked too well. Oh, man.
So I was like, okay.
So what does the rest of this season look like for you then? You've gone through one engine already. You put a bunch into that. You've more or less figured out what the rear end of that car needs to do. You've detuned Jack a little bit with the smaller turbo.
Yeah. Now Max is only like 1,020. So
perfect.
Brought him quite a bit down, almost 280 horsepower out of it. So we're running precision turbos, but the problem is it's the smallest V-band turbo that they make. And we don't want to go away from V-band. I don't want to weld like a 4-bolt on and screw with the bolts and all that. No. So it's the smallest V-band they make is a 6670, which is what he has on now. I'm still at a 6870 because the turbo was supposed to be here yesterday and I wasn't here to pick it up. So now I don't have it for tomorrow when I fly out.
Sick. Was that going to go in your luggage?
It was going to go with me, yeah. Because I had to weld the front on it, but now that it's not here, I don't know. They said, FedEx will drop it off on Monday, maybe.
Lovely.
Yeah. So I guess I'm running the same size.
You're going to need to get like one of those like drop boxes that they have a key for or something like that.
Yeah. So rest of season wise, I mean, like, what do you mean? Just driving wise or plans or what's?
Yeah. Like, do you have another spare engine on the way or being built or one ready to go?
Yeah. So we have another one basically ready to, if anything happens, we can just ship it out to wherever we're at. The plan was to carry it with us, but we didn't have it in time because the spare engine basically went into Jack's car. So the other engine, we're still getting parts for to finish that engine. So it didn't come with us. So we'll finish that up. But on top of that, we have a lot of other just stuff going on. Travel wise, my tow truck, we blew the motor in the tow truck. And I guess this engine like doesn't exist in any planet. It's a 14BT turbo from Toyota, and I guess it was only made 2 years in the Toyota Dyna like tow truck series in Japan. So it's super, super, super hard to find. We checked all like UAE countries, we checked South America, Japan, everywhere. Like no one has any of it. So we cracked the head in 2 places and quite bad, and damaged one of the cylinder walls. So we needed an engine and can't find it. So now I'm trying to figure out how to get that thing back together, put some kind of engine in it, do something, get that going. And then, tomorrow I fly out and I'll be gone for like 7 weeks. So I won't even be home for 7 weeks.
That's wild.
Well, technically I'm home for a day and a half to do hot pit, and then I'm gone again the next day. So I'll be gone basically 7 weeks.
And is that all Indonesia and FD stuff, or do you got more
so
tied
it's
into
FD. So I land in Orlando tomorrow, and then we drive the truck and trailers up to Jersey to get there by Tuesday, and then because we fly in overnight tomorrow, and then we do Jersey. From Jersey, I fly out Sunday straight to Indonesia. Then and my wife will fly like Vietnam, so like we kind of fly together and then fly split. And then we meet back up, and then I go to Malaysia from Indonesia for FD Seeds, for the last round of FD Seeds. I missed the Thailand round, so I'm 2 rounds behind basically, but I'm still in 5th. So we're looking pretty good. And then so we do FD Seeds in Malaysia. We fly right back from Malaysia into Hot Pit Auto Fest. So we run Hot Pit Auto Fest, and then right after Hot Pit Auto Fest, we fly back to Jersey to drive the truck and trailers to St. Louis, and we do St. Louis. And then when I come back from St. Louis, where do I go? Oh, go to Buffalo to New York to the Big Indian Drift Pit, because I have some school and lessons and stuff that I'm training up there. And then as soon as that's over, we basically come back down for another round down here. And then I fly back to St. Louis to drive the truck and trailers to Seattle, and we do Seattle. And then I have a weekend off after that. As of now, it'll probably get full, but as of now.
Yeah, I thought I was busy, but nope. You got me smoked on that one. What do you do on a plane? What's your go-to to keep you busy, or do you like sleep?
I try and sleep because I never get to sleep any other time. So sleep is great on the plane. And I always kind of a little life hack or Rome's tip of the day, I guess, is sleep based on the 8 hours where you're going to be.
Yeah.
That is the key. Only way to make that thing work. It's because Indo is the opposite. So basically it's like a 16-hour flight, or if you fly the other way, it's 19-hour flight, no matter how you get there. So if you're in a plane for 16 hours, just choose the 16 hours that's going to be their 8-hour nighttime. And I just sleep for only those 8 hours, like make sure that that's what it is. And then I just force myself to be awake, before that or up till then.
Yeah, I've been presetting my clock. So like if I have to, when I fly into Europe, I'll get up at like 4 a.m. the day of my travel. So that way I'm already on the more or less the correct schedule for when I need to be there. It doesn't always work out well. It depends on when the flight out is. Like if it's like a night flight, then that doesn't always work as well.
Or the connection makes it all messed up.
Yeah, well, and that's the hard part is like none of these flights are coming like Orlando direct to wherever. It's like Orlando
Helsinki
to JFK. Yeah. Well, most of the time it's to JFK or to Atlanta, or like I'll take maybe a 3-hour flight there and then over. But it just depends. Finland was brutal because it was a couple of flights, because you either land in Helsinki and drive 5 hours north, or you fly somewhere else and then fly into Vasa. So it's where I'm like very happy that FD is just the US. Like it's just the longest flight's going to be Seattle, which will be maybe a layover and
a couple hours. But either way, it's like after flying across the world, like 18, I flew to South Africa, it was 23 hours or something. It's a long flight because there's nothing to land on. People are like, oh, why don't you stop in between? I'm like, where? Where is in between like California? As soon as you leave, the bottom tip of Florida, there's nothing to land on. Like there's nothing there to land on.
Yeah, that's a wild one. Yeah, New Zealand was my furthest one so far.
New Zealand's fun. That's a good place. I love it out there.
That's a good one.
I got my buddy Guy down there and all them.
Oh, Guy awesome. Maxwell.
Dude, Guy's dope.
Guy.
He's so good.
So good. Yeah, I think I'm going to try and make it out there for an event in October is what it looks like. So
okay.
Yeah,
where's it at? Hampton Downs or?
Or Topor. I can't remember which one it's at.
Their tracks are phenomenal, like insane.
Beautiful too.
At Hamptons, they have a switch you can turn on that has water come up through the skid pad, so it waters the skid pad, self-circulating water.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like you can run it wet, you can run it way wet, you can run it kind of patchy, you can run it whatever you want. It's just all on controls on the outside of the skid pad.
That's smart. I mean, they're probably doing some sort of like vehicle development and stuff there too, right? Like, they'll have those like Porsche driving experiences where it's like, learn how to 360 a car, brake in the rain and stuff.
Oh,
but
so
to have
cool.
that's cool.
Well, because in some of those countries, you have to do that. Like I know in Sweden, our buddy Olaf, who's out there, literally teaches that like in order to get your license, you have to learn how to like slide the car in snow, slide the car in different weather. So
I wish they would have taught some people that back in Canada, dude, because like,
I think so.
Oh man, it's just driving the snow, like commuting in the snow or driving regularly in the snow is so difficult. Like it's just, if you've never done it before, it was wild. One of my favorite drives of all time was Jonathan Hurst and I went and visited Simon Olsen in Norway to go ice drifting. And Hurst, being in Kentucky, has seen snow, but has not like driven a lot in snow.
Yeah, it's not like that.
Whereas I grew up like in the snow belt of Canada. Like there were nights where we got 5-6 feet of snow. It has happened. Like I grew up basically like Halloween was in snowsuits. Like that's how much snow we got. So we were driving way north into Norway and had to go through like all these like, you know, not mountain roads, but, you know, elevated roads in the snow and stuff like that. And bro, he was white knuckled the whole time. He's like, slow down, slow down. I'm like, I can't slow down because if I slow down, we're not going to make it up this hill. Like I would rather speed up this hill than to not have to try and back a trailer down it in the snow. Like I'm going to gun it because worst case, I had a snowbank at the top. That's better than going backwards to the snowbank.
At least you're stuck up there. Going back is way worse.
It was great. I've never seen a driver that scared in my life. It just hurts, just white knuckle the whole time yelling at me.
The softer side of Hurst.
He's a big softy. Man, listen, all you guys are big softies. I don't know if there's a driver in FD other than maybe Daigo Saito. He still kind of scares me. That's like quote unquote like hard. Like you're all a little weird.
Oh, like, for sure.
Admittedly, and
100%.
you're all very, very nice. So even Kristaps, I thought Kristaps was like a really mean dude, and he's not. He's hilarious.
Just his European, like, it's like just how he speaks. It speaks very aggressively.
It's the language. I think it's just the language just invites that. I shook hands with Daigo, and that's about the most conversation I've had with him so far.
Yeah, I gave him a okay lead, probably not very good. I came back and like, hey, I apologize, like sorry, and he was like, yeah, okay,
yeah. I was like, whatever.
Sorry.
The dude's seen so much, man.
Oh, I know.
Seen so much.
He was like, he's probably in his head. He's like, he didn't crash into anything. He's probably fine.
Yeah, he's like looks at his car and be like, paint's all here. We're good. Like, what's the problem?
Sorry.
It's
just like, you know, when you give someone a good lead and when you give someone like I was not trying to screw with you. We tried to fix a car here. Like, I apologize.
Yeah, for sure. Just kidding. This is an ad read. I hope we got this. Knowing our editor Kyle, he made that super, super seamless. But I am interrupting this message, and I'm super sorry. Maybe you're in the middle of your workday. Maybe you're driving. Maybe you're just mindlessly listening, and now you're paying attention. So now that I have your attention, guess what? Save 20%. That's right. Save 20%. Use podcast 25 at checkout. PODCAST 25. The number is 25 at checkout. You're going to save yourself 20%.
Yeah, that was bad.
I haven't asked anybody this. From the perspective of a driver, this year, and I mean last year as well, we had Chris Yule kind of jump in and change a lot of like the infrastructure of how you guys run and the burnout boxes and timing and stuff like that. What's that been like for you guys? Because it is a noticeable difference on the back end of production now.
So last year it was okay. Last year, I think he was still trying to figure stuff out. And I love Chris. Like, he's a super good guy. And the fact that he tried to be a judge and stuck with it as long as he did was phenomenal because it's not easy. Not a good time. You lose no matter what. So that was impressive. But the fact that he got the job he actually always wanted, which is race control, is awesome. I mean, Pat was amazing as well. But we know he moved on. And I think last year was okay. This year has been really good. Like really, really, really smooth, really fast. We used to have problems where we were waiting. So we'd warm up.
Get iced.
And then sit there. And we'd sit there for sometimes 2 or 3 minutes or have like a commercial break or something. And then you have to warm up again. And sometimes we're on tires, not this year, luckily, but in the past I've been on tires that can't take 2 full like burnout box warm-ups and still make 2 laps.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, do I not warm up? Do I send them cold? Or do I kill the little bit of tire I have to warm them up and then not have 2 laps in them? So we're battling a different game than some of the other drivers where that can make 2 laps no problem. Like on the Nittos, they have no problem whatsoever, but it's a big tire. But back then I had some tires that, and the year before that I had a tire that I didn't know if it was going to make 1 lap. Let alone 2 laps, and let alone 2 burnout boxes in 2 laps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting way better. And Chris, I think because he's also a driver too, like he actually cares and he knows and he understands. So he's trying to work all sides of this. Like how, and he knows, because he did so many different jobs at FD with the judging and everything, like he knows what the judges are going through, what the announcers are going through. Like, even though he wasn't an announcer, he sat up there with you guys.
No, you're there, yeah.
Yeah, so he knows what everyone's going through. So I think he's literally the perfect person for the race control job because he's done all of it. And he's kind of put it all together in his head. Like, okay, I know how this stuff is kind of supposed to flow. And he's always crazy running around, but he's very calm, which is quite impressive. Like, we have one job. Like, I just drive that thing with the 4 wheels on it.
Right.
He's like trying to organize the whole thing going on. So it's impressive.
Yeah, there's been Orlando in particular. I don't know if you saw I guess you had seen it in the driver's meeting, our new light system of like allowing us to talk about what's going on in the booth without ever having to say it.
Did that help at all? I mean, we don't see it outside. We're on track, but it seemed like it was a lot faster.
Yeah, and for I guess everybody at home, they did publish the driver's meeting, which was interesting. That went up on YouTube. So also, what is that cup? That is phenomenal.
So the wife made a taro smoothie.
Oh, sick. Okay.
So that's why the cat was trying to get it.
Got it. I was like, I didn't know if the cup was purple or the drink was purple.
No, just the drink is purple. Taro.
Got it. Yeah, so they published the driver's meeting. I think it was in that video. But essentially, there's a set of lights now in the booth, which are, one is for side-by-side, because sometimes the judges ask for the side-by-side, sometimes they don't. If it's pretty clear-cut, they won't. If the side-by-side comes up, that means like it's going to come down to 1 or 2 very small points. So the judges can press a button, which would indicate there's going to be a side-by-side. And then there was another one for if production wanted a judge to come on camera. Because that was the other thing that would slow things down. And then the last part was we scheduled commercials a little bit better now, where there's a bit more of a like predictability as to what commercial and for how long it's going to run. So, which I think helped a ton. But yeah, the lights were still getting used to. I had it written down, like almost like a 3-year-old would write, like in marker on my desk, where I'm like, okay, when this light comes on, this is what this means. So I kind of knew, because before we'd work off like hand signals and whiteboards, and it was just a crazy time.
When people are everywhere, so you're like looking for him. You're like, are we okay? Are we okay to go? Yeah, we're okay. All right, let's keep going on, because there's so much going on behind the scenes up there that people don't know. Yeah. So it's a lot. It's good.
If no one notices the production of the show, that's when the show goes really well. Like, that's the best way to explain it, is like, if you don't notice the show's happening and you're just watching, then it was perfect. But it's when you notice, like, why is there a delay? Why did the mics go dead? Why are we lighting up tires again? Why did a commercial get cut halfway through? That means there was some sort of communication that didn't happen correctly.
Yeah, some kind of glitch in the system.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all of those things just to put on a show, and that's the kind of the behind the scenes of it, is like how all that shit works. Because like, I'm still learning how it all works. It's wild what it takes to just put on this live stream.
When there's so much behind the scenes for all of us. Like, people think that we just get in cars, show up to the grid and go drift, and we're like, that's cool. And then we pack them in the trailer and we leave. That's like the farthest thing from what we do. I mean, I spend most of my time building and working on the cars than I do driving them. And it's, that's why the fun cars are so much fun for me, because I don't really care. Like, if something's wrong or it breaks, I just kind of put it back at the house or, whatever else. And I don't have to really worry about it. Versus like a pro car, it has to be perfect for the next day or the next event or the next whatever. Like, it has no downtime pretty much. So.
Well, it's where I appreciate like some of the vlogging work that you do and a lot of other drivers do, just to provide a bit of a glimpse as to what it's like in those situations. And I'm sure there's times where you're like, I wish I could have documented this, or I wish we were documenting this or something. And then there's other times you're like, we can't put this on film. Like we can't record this.
So that's probably the most often.
That's the hard part.
And it's also because we're so busy too. Like we'll do the whole thing and be like, did anyone film this? No? Okay. I mean, we just forget to film because we don't have the time, or it's a lot of stuff. And we're such a small team that we're running around crazy. And if you're running around that crazy, it's not always easy to be like, hey, there's 3 of us on, let's say 2 guys and me on one car. Hey, who's going to hold the camera? We don't have that person. So it's a lot of just trying to get it all together. So we are working really hard on the YouTube stuff because a lot of people ask for it, because people that might not be able to make it to the event or whatever else, or want to see it later or watch it at home, that's kind of their only action or only way into our world. So I really try and do the best I can to try and film and record as much as possible, whether it's good or bad. Like, I don't mind if it's positive or negative, towards like what I'm doing. I just want to make sure it's always a good experience for the fans watching. So that's kind of the main thing. I want them to. Go ahead. No, go.
At the Canadian standoff here. Yeah. I do think there's a resurgence going on though with like less production in YouTube again. I think we've gotten so far into big business in YouTube, like, nothing against the Mr. Beast. I think what he does is incredible. I think that business model is insane. But we've hit that peak of like, he posted his most recent video, took $4 million in 111 days and like 600 people to make and all that shit. Phenomenal. Great. That's for YouTube though, right? That's a YouTube video. Yeah. So I think we've rounded that hub, and now it's coming back to like, can we just see raw shit again? Can we see stuff that's not scripted and doesn't have a high production value? And like, and I really hope that's the case, because that means content like yours and content like a lot of other drivers that's, scrappy, since you like that word so much, will hopefully do better again.
I know you like that. I heard it once. I was like, okay. Then I heard it like 13 more times before the end of top eight. And I'm like, wait.
My thesaurus is over here somewhere. I got to pick it up a little more often.
I just never, and it's weird because I've never heard you say it before. So it was very weird to hear it, and it came out once and then it came out again. Then it started coming out aggressively.
Yeah. Scrappy. Yeah. I don't know why.
Not as bad. I guess. It was just a very weird, I'm like, where do you come up with this one? Okay.
Yeah. Because I probably heard it somewhere else and then it just fit. And I was like, man, I don't know. I was running out of words too. Because the runs were getting so good at some point. I was like, at one point I literally said, I don't know how else to tell you that these are all phenomenal runs. Like, I'm running out of ways to tell you this.
I remember all that because I was watching the broadcast and listening, and it's good. I mean, you guys, it's not easy to talk. It's not easy to talk for that long. It's really not. And when you're in a situation where you are still, I'm assuming this, but you're still very much a fan, that you see it and you're like, I don't know what to say. It was crazy before. Now it's even more crazy. I mean, James went out, everyone went out there and scored high, like a 91 or 92. We're like, this is the highest. This is insane. Like a 92 here is so high. And he walks out and scores like a 98.5. I'm like, all right, I quit. Like, I'm just going to shut this. I'm going to go pick up a new sport. Something that just,
it's good though. I mean, it's such an awesome problem to have, that like, the top like 25 drivers,
points higher than anyone else. And you're like, yo, what?
This is gonna piss a few people off. Yeah. He won't be the best forever.
Yeah.
That's it. He'll either retire on top and then opens the door, which, I mean, that was the Denofa move, right? Technically retired before he even won the championship, which is wild and the most Chelsea Denofa thing you could do. Or eventually the performance will decline and he'll find something else or move on. Like, it's shit to say, but those are your only two options. Yeah. You either retire on top, or you either, what is it? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Those are the two options.
Yeah, it was just crazy because I remember he did that to us in Texas. Yes. Because Texas, everyone was like 92, 93. He laid on a 99. I think, what was it? 99 followed up with a 100, or 98 followed up with a 99.
Something.
And we're like, oh, we just scored a 99 backed by a 98. Like,
there So there's a really interesting interview, as a total aside, but it'll make sense in a minute. It's a really interesting interview with Jack Black, and he's talking about the band Rush. I don't know if you know the band Rush or not. Where Jack Black basically says, he's like, every band has a bottle of rocket sauce, is what he calls it. And he's like, some bands drop all their rocket sauce on the first album. It's this perfect album. Some bands have this illustrious long career where it's just like rocket sauce across every album. And it's like, maybe it has some ups and downs and all this stuff. And he goes, but the band Rush has an infinite bottle of rocket sauce. Every song, every album, it's incredible. And I feel like James Dean's very similar to that, where it's like, every time you're like, oh, here's the thing that's going to slow him down. Here's the thing that's going to beat him. This is the way that he's going to lose, or it's going to create a problem. And he just finds another fucking way to do it. And he does it well. And it's frustratingly good, you know?
Yes. And he doesn't make it look, what was the word? Scrappy. He doesn't make it look scrappy. He just is dialed in the whole lap. And you're like, did anyone let him know it's raining out here? Because like, he didn't care.
It's so cool that we're living through a generational, talent, right? You look at basketball with Michael Jordan or LeBron or whoever, and I'm sure it's in the moment it can be frustrating. You're like, you're just going to watch this guy win again. Lewis Hamilton in F1 and Max Verstappen, anything, right? The Montreal Canadiens in the 70s, like these dynasty eras, right? But you're just like, you're watching, you're like, it's boring to watch because you're seeing it, how incredible this one team or person is, and you're just expecting it to happen. And when it doesn't happen, that's when it's exciting. But then you step back and you go, holy shit, like I lived through history. Yeah. It's like, we're here seeing the greatest driver of all time. I've no real problem saying that, because
not at all.
There is nobody else that's won as many championships as he has. It's just across every event he's gone through, he's basically won a championship.
And whatever country, whatever vehicle,
whatever engine, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think that's the part that mind boggles me, is like, I can choose any car to drive in. I mean, obviously, it has to be BMW technically, but technically I could drive any car I want, drive an S chassis or whatever. So I could choose any car, any engine, any platform, anything. And then he's like thrown at some whatever random vehicle and can still go out there and make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't understand what it is that allows that to happen.
I don't know, but I mean, the boys over there in Ireland can drive. I'll tell you that much,
bro. Yeah. What have they taught you? What have you picked up from them hanging out with the Irish lads?
How they basically how they use the throttle is very different than I ever used it. That's probably the biggest piece that I've noticed. The driving, also what's weird too, that they use a lot of e-brake, but I haven't got that concept yet. Because I mean, like, if you watch my in-car from Orlando, for instance, or even Atlanta, I use it once on initiation. Orlando, I don't even touch the e-brake the entire run. My e-brake didn't work, and I didn't know it didn't work to my third chase run in the rain when I went to hit it, and it didn't work. And was like, hey guys, I think my e-brake doesn't work. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, no worky. Doesn't stop car. And they're like, oh, it just happened right now. I'm like, don't know, haven't used it all day yet. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know, just flick in and drive around the car. So they use a lot of e-brake. Like even on the bank, they'll use e-brake like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're just setting the car, using it for traction, using it for forward bite. I don't know. But like even in Atlanta, I've seen Connor at the bottom of the hill, as he goes to go up the hill, like touch e-brake, the car squats and he pulls, like he'll pull a gap. So I don't know if he does it to set it. I don't know if it's a grip thing, but I remember this in the driver's meeting, Chelsea and Vaughn arguing with the rest of all of us, saying that the e-brake speeds him up on the bank. And I also remember almost dying behind Vaughn at Irwindale because we flick in, and Vaughn will flick in, no e-brake, and then start pumping the e-brake. And when you see the car squat down, which looks like he's like clutch kicking it or something, he's actually pumping e-brake to set the tires in. And the first time I didn't know that, I freaked out and almost went up in the wall because I saw a homie pull an e-brake. And on a big bank, you don't pull an e-brake in the middle of the bank. Like that's how you die. Yeah. Like you just go back into the wall and total the car. But it was like squatting the car forward, and he was pulling on me somehow with pulling the e-brake. So it's not a technique I would recommend just testing out there randomly. I'd probably figure out why it works, but I noticed that. But the thing that I've actually applied on my driving that made way more sense was the throttle control. And I'd say Connor's very, very good, but Jack is even better than Connor. And Connor even told me that Jack was better than him at throttle. And it's this like weird like blip
They
throttle.
dance it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can keep the car not hitting red line, not gaining speed, but in full boost without anything besides the pedal. So like he can, you know how normally you come around and let's say you're chasing someone, you get on throttle, the car goes. They can get on throttle and the car not go any faster, but be on throttle.
Yeah.
Very weird. I don't understand.
That is something I've seen as well in James Dean. Like if you go and listen to when he first started driving the Mustang, you could hear it. Because those Mustangs, like anything you do, you like, but not rev limiter banging off it. It's just like, but so fast.
Yeah, it's a very weird. I heard it at Long Beach the first time in James's car. I'm like, what is that? Because it's not red line. Because you'll hear him when he hits red line, it'll be like, yeah, it'll like hit hard and then kick down, da 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 da, and it's not like that. It's almost like, and then it comes down, and it's very
like a soft limiter.
Yeah, but it's like it's at different RPMs. So unless they have different limiters all the way around the track, which I don't think they have all that, it's literally him controlling how the car, like how the boost is coming in, how it's hitting the throttle blade, and how it's holding it through before it blows through. Yeah. So it's a very
I know exactly what you're talking
idea.
About.
And I don't understand. I saw Osbo, I went ice drifting with Osbo and experienced that same thing. And he's like finding grip. And you know how normally you find grip like this? He's finding grip just over here, like not even touching the clutch. And it's something that somewhere that I would clutch in or clutch out to like get the car to go. And he's just like in whatever car, it can be turbo, not turbo, doesn't really matter. So I don't know if it's a ice thing. I don't know if it's a rainy, like weather
Could be.
thing, because they're both kind of, from wet conditions and they have to pedal the car. So it's almost like when you pedal the car in the rain because you're trying to get the car to go forward, but it's so sharp and such a short pedal throw, because that's something else. Jack asked for a very, very short pedal throw. So I have a long pedal throw. His is like that long. It's like on, off, on, off, on, off. And he drives the car the whole time phenomenally well with an on-off switch. Like, I believe you could just put a button and he would drive it just as well. Like on, off, on, off, on, off. Like put a controller down there and just be like.
Yeah. It's like when you're playing video games and like you don't have a joystick and you're steering and you're just tapping to like get the car to turn a little bit at a time. But they're doing that with the throttle.
Yes. And not like on, off, on, off, on, off, but like tap, like rolling it up, rolling it back down, rolling it up, down, in middle, up, down, middle, like wherever they need to do it. So instead of being behind someone and clutching in and then launching the car, which is very uncontrollable because you blow the tires or you under boost or whatever, he's just like, whoa, like flutters the car and then can snap back across and go.
Yeah.
So that and the e-brake, those are the two things that I've noticed.
The e-brake and the chase for them is wild. Like they're just on it all the time.
Yeah,
and they
like,
don't.
I mean,
well, I feel like the North American way is to use more left foot brake in the chase, like get the car in left foot brake and you're controlling your proximity with that. They don't. They control their proximity with the e-brake, where they're like in throttle, and as soon as they get close, it's e-brake, cars completely parallel, and then it's just like throttle e-brake, throttle e-brake, throttle e-brake all the way through, and it's just.
But wild. It doesn't look like how I do it. When I do throttle e-brake, my car's like, like it's like big gap, big gap. And when they do it, it's like,
I think it's
so
just
smooth.
how smooth they are coming on and off the clutch is what it is. Because it's not like a dump off the clutch. Like if you watch some of the in-car, especially pedal cam, they're not, it seems like they're coming off the clutch really quick, but it's not. It's so much like slipping the whole thing. Like it's really weird. But I don't know how many clutches you did last year, but
no, we run ACT clutch. Connor never burnt up a single clutch. That's what I mean. They're not on the clutch. They're only on the gas pedal. That's why I'm like, there's something different, because even in the e-brake scenario, if you clutch in for too long, the car's going to grip up and snap straight. So he has to be quick on it. So it's like quick jabs. So that's why I don't totally understand how it works. I'll ask Jack and maybe get back to you guys. But
yeah, no, it'd be sick. It'd be really cool to set up like an e-brake sensor, a clutch sensor, brake and throttle, and like map all of this out? Like, give me some way, some visualization of like what every input is doing at any time, and then look at that across drivers to understand, because there is something different going on.
Oh, it's way different. And like OZBO, at least when I rode with OZBO driving was way different than when I rode with Connor or Jack.
Yeah.
Like totally, completely different. OZBO's very, this is not the right term, and please don't hate me, but very slow in the car.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like,
it's relaxed.
Yeah, but it's like there's not a lot of jab movements. And then versus in Connor, when I watch like Connor's in car, like it's a lot of jab, like a lot of inputs. Versus OZBO, at least when I rode with him, there was almost no inputs. Like the inputs were so soft and gentle that the car just always was in, like always in bite or always in grip.
Yeah, in grip.
So two totally different ways, at least when I experienced them driving it.
Well, I mean, there's so many different ways to do what you guys do. And that's maybe something that doesn't get enough attention. Like getting into grip racing, they'll talk about how different drivers go at a track. Like that staying in boost thing, like that's something that Ayrton Senna did really, really well back in the day in the turbo era. And that was a reason why he was so competitive. And then we get into kind of like the late braking era where different drivers would have found ways to set the cars up in grip racing or in F1 to like be the last person on the brakes into a corner. So you do have different driving styles there. And maybe that's something that in our sport we could highlight more, is how different drivers are able to basically accomplish the same task with the same tools in a very, very different way.
Yeah, because I feel like Vaughn drives very different than anyone else I've ever experienced.
He
At
does.
least when I chase him, for sure. I'm like, wait, what is coming up? And he gets around the track beautiful, but it's just, it's a very different way of driving for sure. And then even Chelsea's driving.
Chelsea's ability to like get a car to immediate angle is insane. Like the car would just be going straight and then you would see this very slight flick and he's full 90 degrees. And you're like, there was no in between. It was just straight car, 90-degree car. And I missed what happened in between that.
Yeah. And then the other one that's very, very fun to drive with, one of my favorite drivers to drive with, is Forrest. And Forrest, like he can do like a comp line drive or like a bro line jam driver. And anytime we have jam events, I mean, I'm like, where's Forrest? Where is he? I'm jumping the line. Like I'm going with him. Because me and him have amazing tandems, just really wide, big, sweepy, smoky, like door-to-door tandems. So it's very good.
It sucks because I feel like this, with the changing and judging and with like the new kind of precedent of like keeping the door open, I really feel like this could have been his year. And that's
Forrest would have done great. You
so
know he would have
frustrating.
done great. Yeah.
Because that's how he drove in the lead, is like he would leave the door open for everyone. And like there is a reason why he got into a lot of contact, is because drivers felt so comfortable just getting into the side of him the entire run.
Yeah.
And it would make drivers who traditionally weren't great at tandem or great at chasing look amazing, because it was just every corner. He'd be wide out. Okay, here you go. And he would telegraph when he would transition. You would know, like you would see the car load up and you're like, oh, he's about to transition. There was no snap to it. Just float all the way around the track. So this really could have been a good year for him.
Yeah, very, very, very good driver. So
yeah,
I enjoy him. Another driver I look up to a lot, which I don't know if he knows or not, but is Kaufman. And we haven't seen Kaufman much in a while, but like,
he's driving.
He is, and I love driving with him. He's probably one of my favorite drivers to drive with as well. But Matt is super, super talented guy.
Yeah.
So especially grid lifestyle, like. He takes some lines and I'm like, bro, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I think I can connect it. I'm like,
the Laguna video is like the Laguna video. Yeah. Top 10 drifting moments ever of Matt Kaufman doing what?
100. I think the last one was like 140 something or whatever, 148 miles, 150 miles an hour up over the blind crest. And that's where he initiates and flicks. And he's facing the concrete wall, the entry pit lane wall, down the entire embankment, all the way out to the far corner, and then connects it all around.
Oh,
and it's gone. Man. And you're like, Because I remember we're like all in grid life. We're all kind of, they said do a parade lap first. So we're all kind of doing a parade lap. And then he'd like, burp, 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 burp. And like,
Past
burp, burp, burp.
everyone.
And then as soon as like the little pace car thing turned off and we made that bottom corner, he just, I was like, oh, he's gone. He's going for it. He hit the corner top of like second or third and then just ripped and just kept going.
Oh, man.
So if he had a 6 gear setup, it would have been a 6 because he was as topped out as that S chassis could go.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers that I would love to see come back, and some of it's like the personality thing. Like I used to love hanging. I don't know if you remember Austin Meeks. I used to love hanging out with Austin Meeks.
I do. Yeah, me and Meeks have super funny conversations about all kinds of random stuff. Meeks is dope.
Yeah, Meeks
about a zoo.
Super dope. Yeah, dude, Tank the Rhino. Like you're like what?
I
and then
was,
you find it like
yeah. I was playing a settle with him and I heard banging. I'm like, I was like, what is that? He's like, here, open your like screen so you can see, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, what is that? And I can't remember the name, Betsy or whatever the name of it is. And all of a sudden you hear like a bang, bang, and he like turns the monitor and there's a rhino like horn coming in through his side window, just trying to get his attention to like play with him. I'm like, what is that? He's like, oh, it's our rhino. Yeah. I'm like, you're a rhino. Like you just happen to have a rhino in your backyard? Like, he's like, oh yeah, we own a zoo. I'm like, okay, that's super cool. That's very, very, very cool.
He's got cool stories. I mean, yeah, it's always tough when people go. Like that's the hardest thing is like, Reader not coming back was tough. Mike Power not coming back was tough. Like there's just people you make friends with and they become buddies and you're like, man, I just like hope to see you around someday. Like, we still see Reader around and I'm sure we'll see Mike come back, but it's like, you never know.
Yeah, there's so much to make it work in FD and any kind of pro level, I guess, of anything. Is there's so much behind it. There's so much to do. And you have to dedicate every bit of your life to get there. Because people ask me like, hey, how hard is it to get to FD? I'm like, oh, it's very simple. All you do is you win Pro-Am and then you win Pro Spec and then you're in Pro. And they're like, what? I'm like, it's a simple path. It's not easy, but it's a very simple path. Like they don't hide the secrets, bro. Like you just win here, then you win here, and then you're pro. Like that's it. And it's like it's very true, but it's not the easiest thing to do. And I mean, I remember driving my car to events and trying to get it to work. And I remember the first time I ever actually won or ever even qualified was LS Fest. And that was like the end of 17. And I street drove the car with an LS in it from San Diego all the way to Vegas. So like, I don't know, a 4-hour drive with tires in the back of the car. And I wasn't even planning on qualifying because I had never qualified before. And I went out there, qualified decent, and then started winning and had to borrow tires from other people because I ran out of tires and just kept running different tires and ended up winning the whole event. And then I was like, okay, I think I can do this. Like,
I guess we're doing this thing. Yeah.
I think I can do this. And then I remember going to SEMA because I was working with Trent Beecham at the time. Like I was working for their team.
Oh, I didn't know
him
that.
and Rob.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And then the next year, so that was in 17, I was working on their team, like crewing and working with him. And then the next year I worked for Jeff Jones. So I worked for Jones for a year as well. And it helped me learn a lot. So if anyone's trying to go become a pro driver, like work on an FD team, highly recommend it. It gives you all the cheat codes right away. Just write them all down. And I remember seeing Denofa in the Flyers hat and I was like, hey bro, like what do I got to do to go pro? And he's like, oh, drive 50 days a year. And I'm like, wow, I drive like 5. So, okay, I can do math. My numbers are not even close. I'll get to that. And he just kind of ran off. And then, the next year in 18, I ended up driving Top Drift and Drift League and Vegas Drift. And I just focused on competition and driving that. And I had Taka like help me along the way as much as he could. Like, hey, you suck. Like, don't do that. Like on throttle through transition. I'm like, but that's scary. He's like, yeah, it's drifting. Like you're going to have to get over
the whole thing is scary. Yeah.
I'm like, but much safer if I let off and then transition and settle car and then drive into it. He's like, no, not good. So he helped me quite a bit understand how bad it was. And in 18, I won Top Drift and Drift League. And I was doing good in Vegas Drift, but it was the same weekend. So I don't know how I would have ended up, but it's very, very possible. I mean, dude, I just threw everything I had at it. I was like, well, I'm going to either, die trying or we're going to succeed. And it seemed to work out so far.
Yeah, I get a similar question. And I mean, my answer's way less happy than yours. Mine's like, cool. How do you feel about financially ruining yourself, missing all your friends and family's birthdays and anniversaries and holidays and basically every free waking hour? Are you ready to give all of that up? And they're like, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, then you might have a shot. Because that's it. Like everyone I talk to, it's the same story.
Yeah, you got to be all in. But anything you do, you have to be all in. Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah, but bro, a lot of people aren't ready to hear that, and a lot of people aren't ready to do that. They want there to be an answer. They want there to be a cheat code. They want there to be a R1, L2, up, down, left, right.
There is a cheat code. You just don't give up. That's the cheat code.
Right.
If you don't give up, you can't fail.
The issue is like we live in a world now where like willpower isn't something you need. Like you can DoorDash any food you want. Anything you want is available to you at any time. So unfortunately we've conditioned ourselves where struggle and pain are things that we are easily able to stay away from. So when it comes up, it's very easy to not deal with it. And that's kind of the biggest problem. It's like even drivers who they're all in on sim and they're like, well, I'll never be a pro driver. I'm like, you could be. You're incredible. Like you're actually, I still claim that the best driver in the world right now will just never get off their sim rig.
Probably.
Right? Whether that's because they don't have the means or the opportunity or whatever. A lot of it's probably
opportunity wise. Because there's people in other countries that I've ran into that it's like, they put everyone together goes together to buy one sim. So that they can just drive. And it's a very different world, so there is definitely areas that it's not as easy as it is in the US or Canada or Europe to be able to just go get a car.
Well, and that's where it can be frustrating when someone's like, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm like, well, you can, it just requires some effort or it requires something. It requires you to not, how many hours of Call of Duty do you have right now? It's like, oh, I do 3,000 hours. I'm like, sick. You know what else you could have done with 3,000 hours?
A lot.
Like, holy shit. You're almost a third of the way to being an expert in something. What do they say? 10,000 hours, right?
Probably. I mean, I don't think drifting even takes that long to be good at it.
No, I don't. I think drifting has such an interesting learning curve where it's steep in the beginning and then it flattens out for a very long period of time. And then once you get into that, 200 tread wear, 255 and up tire, that's when it goes really, really steep again. Yeah. And then I think it kind of plateaus again and just takes a long time to get to James Dean or whatever that final end stage is.
Yeah, because when you look, he's even when you drive with him, right? He's not 10% better than everyone. He's like effectively 1% better all the time. And I don't know how to say that in any better way, but you know what I mean? Like, like when you watch him in Drift Masters, right? In the qualifying, there's no way that he was 8 points or 6 points or whatever it was better than everybody else in the field. He just happened to be consistently like 3 or 4 points better than everyone all the time.
Yeah. And that's where it is. That's how he's doing all of this, is that consistency and the ability to just find 1%. Yeah. Where no one else is finding that 1%. He is figuring that out. Yeah. And then not cracking under pressure, because that's the other part too, that like we don't talk about nearly enough.
The mental game.
You guys, bro, I don't understand. Like,
bro, I'm so beat up by the time I get to the track that like, bro, winning or losing is like, okay, whatever. Like I'm just trying to make it to the track with all the engines and cars and everything else. I'm like, this is the relaxing part, is that when I get to drive.
That's I mean, that's where I think a situation like Odie is so interesting, where he's all in on Odie this year. Yeah. It's been a very long time since he's been all in on Odie.
And it's a good choice. And I want to see, like, I would love to see him win a championship. Like, dude, Odie's my boy. Like, dude, he taught me so much driving. Him and Matt taught me so much, like, coming up. And it's just, dude, he deserves it. He fights so hard. Him, Amy, the whole family, like, they're all in.
Yeah.
Like, they're all in. So it would be amazing to see him win a championship. It really would.
Yeah, I put, maybe not in this particular order, but like Turk, Odie, and Matt are probably the three best drivers right now that haven't won a championship.
I agree 100%. And they always get taken out by something silly. Like, I mean, Matt getting taken out like 3 years in a row in Irwindale at the same like problem,
Same
like breaking
spot.
and not being able to get back together, and then
Yeah.
that was like heartbreaking, and then just a bunch of little dumb things, and that's what it takes
though to win a championship, is like just to not have those little dumb things happen. That's it.
Well, and like Odie will be absolutely killing it in the season, absolutely killing it, and then just get knocked out in top 32 for like something random, like Seattle. I thought he was going to win. I thought he had the whole championship locked in. In Seattle, he hit something and then went in the wall, and then had to run it basically NA, like no intercooler, and just got knocked out in 32. Because I mean, you can't take a 1100 horsepower car and then take all the power off of it and expect it's going to make it around Seattle's bank. He drove it.
Not going to go well. He did.
I was amazed he made it even as far as he did.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Turk and weird mechanical things, going out early.
What was it? Transmission, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he went first, second, and that was the end of it. And
that was it.
We're like,
weekend over.
And that, I think that's a difference from this sport to any other sport, is like how quickly just it's over. I mean, I know in other sports, yes, it can be over very quickly. You crash or whatever else, but it's like, for us, we have such a short period of time to impress the judges. 30-second run, 40-second run, whatever it is. And that's it. You don't have, like in road racing, you don't have 45 laps to get into a groove and figure it out and then move to the front. It's like, you need to figure out how to be the front immediately.
Yeah. It's wild. It is, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is just such a difficult sport. That's
like
it.
the light switch on, like as soon as you put the helmet on, boom, you need to be the best you possibly can at that moment. And then that's all you got.
And do it cold.
Yeah.
Like there's no real, like, you warm up the tires, but it's not like you get a practice drift 10 minutes before you go out. You could be sitting for hours.
Yep. And sometimes we get iced really, really hard, especially if there's a crash or something. And sometimes
you could be ready to go. And then you're lined up, and then
mental
it's like,
game
cool,
on, you're ready.
Track oil down. Might as well get out of your car. Like, you're like, shit, I was here. I was locked in. I was ready to go.
30 minutes later, you have to get back locked in again, ready to fire away.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if you guys like need to start going to like, I mean, I know did Matt have like a mental coach at one point? I know
Absolutely.
He had a performance coach that was doing stuff with him, but
I think it's pretty much about the same, mental coach, performance coach. I believe he got a lot from it. Especially even just having a conversation with him now, it's very different than it was before. I don't know if because he got a little bit older or what it is, but
he's mellowed a little bit.
No,
he's
a
mellowed
lot.
a little bit,
and he's very like. I think he's very, at least in my experience, he's very like crystal clear on like what he's going after. Versus before, it was more like on edge and not very direct. At least when I'd have a conversation with him, he had a general idea, but it was kind of like a wider path. Now he seems super direct and like always on point, on kill mode. Like, this is what's going to happen. So very big, like purpose driven now. So I like it. I think it's awesome. Whatever he did and whatever he's been doing, phenomenal.
Yeah. Have you picked up any ritual or like meditating, anything like that to try and get locked in? Or you're just like, if I got a decent night's sleep and both cars are running, that's all I need.
Yeah, that's probably the best feeling ever. When I get there, I'm like, your car runs, mine runs too. We're good. Let's go. Yeah. So that, I think you asked me last time, like what my trigger was, and just for the people who haven't seen that one, I think for me, it's a helmet. Every sport I've done successfully. Yeah, I've done some like snowboarding and other stuff, but successfully was been helmet related. So whether it was when I was younger, I was an ice hockey goalie. We could be playing around, doing whatever you want, and then I put the helmet on, and it's like a different Rome shows up. Yeah. And then same thing with like stunt bikes and street bikes and all that stuff. And once helmet's on, I'm a totally different person. And same with drifting. I mean, we're hanging out and helping you fix your car, and then I have to battle you in 5 minutes. So we're trying to thrash, get the car done, jump in the car, boom, helmet on. Now I have to be like this person ready to go now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, if it's working, stick with it, right? You just run it on vibes alone at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a championship yet, so it's not working great, but it's at least working in the right direction. So we're going up there.
All in due time, man. It's reps and figuring it out. And I think a bit more time in that chassis or a different chassis or whatever you end up choosing to do into next year. It's just reps, just time. So it's 10,000 hours. It's whatever.
See, you didn't ask that question. But that's
What's that?
We'll just avoid that.
What you're driving next year?
You see?
I mean, hey, I just figured you'd keep running this car. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I most likely though, realistically, I was having this conversation earlier today. I might go back to a 36.
Okay.
They're very easy to work on. And if you crash them, they're very easy to fix. And they're a whole lot less work for the team.
Yeah.
So I don't know what engine platform. I am trying to develop the LS platform a little bit more. I know it sounds really funny because a million people have done it, but trying to make it a little bit better for kind of a drifting situation. If I can't figure that out with hot pit and with driving and all the stuff I'm doing, then I'll probably either go M50 turbo because it's already in Sally and just take Sally out. Because it seems like your fellow Canadian drove it quite well.
Had a blast. He looked great in that car, man.
He came out, he loved it. He's like, I've never drove turbo before, but this is so good. I mean, he was in what, like top 8 against LZ one more time. I mean, dude, killing it in that car. Like he's never drove turbo car before, never drove Long Beach before, like never drove an E36 before. I mean, for fresh out of the bag driving a car, he drove it quite well.
That's Tommy though, dude. Like that's how that kid is, man. He's wild. I'm so happy he's getting the attention now because like locally, like everybody knew who he was. Everybody knew how he drove. So then it was like, okay, he's getting the spotlight. He's earned it. And he is one of those drivers that the better the driver he's against, the better he will drive. If he's against somebody who isn't very consistent, he freaks out a little and just isn't able to display that. So I'm like, once you make it into pro and you can drive with these guys, like you're set, dude. So yeah, that was so cool to see.
Well, and I think that's a kind of a common thing in pro now is like everyone is all super good.
Oh yeah.
Like super good. No matter who you draw, you're like, come on. So
like, sick.
Yeah, like, oh great. This is whoever. Like, cool. They're all killers from somewhere. They've all done amazing things in a race car. So it's very, very cool to see that happen and to experience that. And the one thing I know you didn't bring this up, but I'll bring it up. One thing that I would like to see change is I feel like we need qualifying. I'm going to throw that out there right now. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've ran Trent 6 times in the last 7 rounds. That's horrible. There's 4 other groups like Jeff and Stookie. I can't remember all the groups. Simon and Ben. There's 4 other groups that have battled the exact same people every single round. And the part that messes it up is like, even let's say Jack gets through seating bracket, right? So he won the last one. He gets through seating bracket. He still has to now go against like the top 4 or 5 people, even if he wins seating bracket. So the problem with that is that Jack, there's no way in qualifying Jack would qualify in 32nd position.
Right.
Unless he has a broken car. So now you take someone who's supposed to be battling one of the top, or supposed to be battling someone on the lower bracket for that track, and you take a very good driver and put him against another very good driver, and now you have basically finals battles in top 32. And it keeps happening, and it's quite aggravating. And for us as a driver too, like there's some tracks that I do very well at, so like Long Beach, right? But going into Long Beach, at the end of last year, Irwindale, I ended up crashing and having a problem. So I was low on the bracket at the end of the year for the last round, which put me in the bottom going into Long Beach. Previous years before that, I haven't qualified outside of the top 5 in Long Beach. So there's no way you're going to tell me I'm going to come in at 30. I think I came in at like 29th into Long Beach. That's horrible. And then like all of a sudden I had an intercooler failure because we were battling a lot of things with the cars, the round 1, because they're fresh cars. And we get to Atlanta, and now I'm coming in at the bottom again of Atlanta. Like I can't remember the last time I qualified 29th or 28th or 26th or whatever it is. So it's like it messes it up because Atlanta, I'm not a very good driver, but Irwindale I am. So then I go into Orlando at the bottom again. So it's like tracks that I do good at, I'm not rewarded for, and the tracks I don't do good at, I'm bumped up and have no business being up that high. Like I'm like, bro, I wouldn't qualify this high, so there's no reason I should be up here. I should be in the middle of the barrel here because this is where I'm at normally qualifying at this track. So it's it's kind of, I don't know, at least this way, I've not talked to a single driver that likes it. And I know this is probably not the right platform to put it out there, but I've talked to other people in FD and I'm like, yo, we need to change this because this is not rewarding anyone. And it's very aggravating battling the exact same person over and over and over and over and over and over.
I mean, hey, and I think this is a great platform because I think I don't ever want this to be toe the company line, to be perfectly honest. That's not why I do this show. I don't do it to be like, oh, this is what, like there's no notes here from FD. There's no like, hey, this is what you need to talk about, that kind of stuff.
No, I didn't figure there was, but still.
Yeah, no, this is what? Okay.
Because here's my thing on this. Side note, I always want to be 100% supportive because like FD gives us the chance to be drivers.
Right.
Like, so I have nothing negative about FD whatsoever. The platform of the taking away qualifying, like it made sense. And we're like, okay, cool. Like this is good. But all of a sudden now, even with the chip pulling and all that, like if you're battling the same person over and over and over, and even in Pro Spec. So this is the second time in a row that Connor and Amanda have to battle each other again. So they're driving all the way across the US to battle their brother, like brother and sister battle again in top 30 or in knockout battle.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the likelihood of them having to battle each other because they're at the bottom is very low. Like Amanda did great last year driving. Yeah. And it's even like Carson. So you said, Carson looked quite good out there. He's 31st in qualifying position because there's no qualifying. There's no way that kid would have qualified 31st. Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
No way.
I could see the chip pulling going away because I think it's what's interesting is like in the simulations early on, not having that chip pull actually created a bunch of issues. And what I think is funny, and it's not like funny
for you,
interesting, funny for me, is that the chip pulling has created the issue they were trying to combat. Because originally, like I said, when they did a simulation where they didn't do it, basically they ran a couple of previous seasons with this system to see what it would look like. And without the randomizing of the chip pull, you would see drivers battling each other the same times over and over again. It happened. But now with the chip pull, it's doing that exact same thing. Like it's that whole chaos theory thing.
Well, I mean, even so the end of last year, so let's say 7 rounds ago, I battled Trent.
Right.
And then 6 rounds ago, I battled Trent. And then if Trent won, he battled James. If I won, I battled James.
Yeah.
And then going into Long Beach, if I won, which I didn't win because I cracked intercooler, Trent battled James. Then the next round, which is Atlanta, if I won or he won, we would battle James. And then in Orlando, I battled James. And then the next round coming up now again, if I win the top 32 bracket, I battle James again. So either way, the whole sides are all locked in. That'll now be 7 times we're on the same first and second and third tier of each other. So
I would argue, because I can, and it's fun.
Have fun.
Exclude ourselves from this situation and go back to qualifying. There were drivers who battled each other all the time in qualifying.
Who?
I mean, I can't think of an example exactly.
Okay, that's a very bad argument you have for me. You're like, I'm going to make the statement. I got nothing to back it up, though.
What I'll do, though, is I'll just be like, okay, like, somebody else, like, I get the magic of editing where I can go through and then provide examples on screen afterwards.
Okay, yeah, you provide all the examples of how many times people battle each other versus how many people battle each other in a row this time.
I think Hurst and Forsberg battled each other like a whole bunch at one point in time. And I mean, it happens more in the middle of the pack than it does in the top and the bottom. But I think what you're getting at is like, it's happening more top and bottom than it should. Whereas before the middle of the pack, you would often run into the same driver in top 32 because you would qualify in a similar spot. Like if you were a 15, 16 driver, there's a good chance you're going to battle one of the same 4 drivers.
Well, and it's kind of funny you say that because certain tracks, I was definitely a lower end qualifier. And I pretty much knew who I was going to battle just from these drivers are really good at this track. I'm kind of down here at this track. So I'm going to most likely battle a group of these guys. I could probably guess the first 3 or 4 people. But then at the next track, I knew I was never going to battle them because I normally qualify in the top 5. So unless something happens, I'm going to have a good chance of running all the way through this at the top. And that's like, we don't even have a chance to get ourselves out of the bottom. Even if you're winning the battles.
Would you be okay with a single run qualifying?
Yep.
and then bottom whatever system then turns into a bracket to battle into the remaining spots.
1,000%.
Right. Because that at least gives you the opportunity to like, let me do a one run. Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Take top 16, top 18, whatever you want to call it. Don't really care. Bump them up.
Yeah.
And then run everyone else. And we did that in Pro-Am a bunch and it worked amazingly well.
Okay.
And like, even if you take just the bottom, let's say they're bottom like 8, like we do, have them battle for the last 4 spots.
Yeah.
Or the last 2 spots or whatever it is. But at least they're getting battles and at least they have a chance. Like, and then here's the other thing too. They can explain to the sponsors why they're there. The hardest thing is right now, it's very weird to try and explain to sponsors like, oh, let's say I'm in the seating bracket. Even if I win the seating bracket, oh, now I have to go against James or Osbo. I'm going back to the seating bracket. Like, there's no way out of this position. And they're like, but you're not a bad driver. Are you qualifying down there? Like, no, they just choose to put me there.
You wouldn't, I mean, the upside is James didn't win the last event. So you wouldn't, if you win it, you wouldn't be going up against James. But I know you're getting
Hero.
Yeah.
So if you're coming out of a seating bracket, you have Hero. Top 32. Good luck, buddy. Yeah.
I know.
So, and then the other random thing that I didn't realize until one of my sponsors asked for this, and I was like, wait, what? You're right. Is that there's no point in time at any track that we have a solo run that a sponsor or anyone can use for media purposes. Because we always have a second car with us and it has to get written off and they don't have the same sponsors and it can't be used. And so we're in a situation now to where because there is no qualifying, there's no chance to get a solo run situation.
That from the broadcasting perspective, that was something I did bring up early on where I went, there is no point where I can provide a really good background on what that driver's been up to or anything like that. So I do agree with that one. That is an unfortunate side effect of this setup.
Yeah, because and not that it matters because it's fine, but if you listen to the battle with me and James, it's literally like, oh, James the Machine, James the Machine, James the whole entire time. And then there's a comment of RCP still in it. And then James. And then I ended up winning and we're like, wait, what? So it was very weird that mean, because you're so used to speaking about James that he's 100% there, and that's totally fine. Like it doesn't bother me. I get that he's way better in the scenario that I do. I literally when we came back, like because he was in my pits when I came back, I was like, oh really? What? And he's like, oh great job. I'm like, dude, thank you for letting me win. I really appreciate it, bro. And he's like, dude, I was like, yeah, you did. I had no. Bro, I've seen you drive. Thank you for letting me win. I really do. Sincerely, I needed to get away. Like me and Trent battled 8 times in a row. Like it's all good. Thank you for helping me out here. I appreciate you, buddy. But there's no time to where, like you said, where the commentators can talk about the cars and what they're doing, and there's no like audio grab that we can use or no clip that we can use for media purposes that we used to be able to because we used to have it at every single event. So it's almost like talking about the sponsors there isn't really, there's like not a time for it.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
So
I don't disagree with you on that. I do think the seating bracket is not a perfect system. I think 2-run qualifying is also not a perfect system for other reasons.
I don't think we need 2 laps because supposedly we're pros and we're supposed to be able to get around the track in 1 lap. So I get the 1 lap and done. Like I'm totally fine with that. If we mess it up, cool. We go in the bottom and try and figure out what we did wrong.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I've had broken cars in qualifying where I have no power steering or something random. And it's like, should I be rewarded with being qualifying really high if the car is junky this weekend? No, I don't think I should. I think I should go to the bottom because that's what my car is performing at, or that's what I am performing at.
What you're performing at, yeah.
So
I could see a world where we go back to single run and then a seating bracket that goes with it of some kind. I don't know that. Like this isn't me like saying that's what's going to happen, but I could see that. I could see enough arguments being made where that becomes the decision that gets made.
I just think it's a more fair platform, and I think it allows us to show what we're all about. Plus, it brings some excitement. Like I used to. It's weird now that qualifying's not there. I really liked qualifying runs because you can kind of get gangster with some stuff and show some really like hot boy runs or some crazy wall rides or like Denofa trying to enter at 118 miles an hour backwards in Utah. I mean, he dropped a tire and went off, but he almost made it. Like, you know how cool that is?
but he almost did it.
He almost did it. And like that type, I think fans love that stuff, and it allows you to show yourself 100% versus in the lead run, you're not going to run that risky of a lead run. You're just going to do what the judges ask you and just put it in the boxes. So I think a lot of the extra flair that happened because of qualifying is no longer there. And even when we're in line, the chase line is just giant now because everyone's like, well, everyone's going to run a decently good lead. We just have to figure out how to chase.
Yeah, which is funny because it used to be the opposite.
Correct. We used to want to run leads because like if you don't qualify high, you're stuck in the back and then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So that has changed a lot with that scenario. So just dynamics from the driver's point of view that I don't know if everyone, gets to see that. And I get that the seating bracket is cool, but sometimes the fans even get bored with watching the same people run the same seating brackets because they're kind of stuck down there. It's like, and the only reason I say that is when you're watching the live stream for the seating bracket used to be really, really high, and now it's a lot lower than it was before.
Yeah. I would want to look at the numbers. That was when you were talking about that. I'm like, okay, I'd love to go back and see what the numbers were for qualifying versus seating bracket and which seating bracket. Because there are ones where we get some really, really interesting matchups in the seating, and then you're like, shit, like
it's really good.
This is going to be really good. But that could be comparable to kind of when we had the last chance qualifier, which was like the bottom 8 drivers would have to do a second run. There were times where like Osbo or somebody like that would get knocked or have a biff on a run, and then you're like, okay, they're going to be running that, and you'd see the viewership spike back up. So,
and it could just be that as well. You know what I mean? And maybe it is just based on who's down there in that bracket. Yeah. So, but it's fun either way. I mean, I love the fact that we're out there drifting at the end of the day, so it doesn't,
Yeah. No,
still fun driving.
The feedback's needed. Like I always enjoy hearing opinions. Like I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from fans and from people who like, even my dad. Like my dad said things about FD and commentary and like the sport and stuff where like he's not a drifting fan by any means. And he's just had these like outside perspectives. I'm like, shit, I never thought of it that way. Like I'm so close to this whole situation that I can't see what you're seeing because I'm so invested in everything that it's going to tint my lens no matter what. So
and it's just because we're ontologically too close or whatever, like where you're
forest
become part of it.
We are. We're embedded in it. No matter how much of a fan I am, I'm still part of the series. So I will always have a slightly different view on things than somebody who's purely just a fan that gets to watch it from the outside.
Yeah, because I think it means something to you. You know what I mean? There's an extra meaning for you on the inside of it as well because you're there. Yeah. Like it's personal. I'm more defensive now than I ever have been because I'm a part of it. Like that's just what's going to happen, right? You can shit on a town all you want until you move there and then you start defending it. Yeah. Well, and also too, you will start to understand why certain things have to be certain ways. Like I totally get why they did it. I get why they did the seating bracket because technically it's more entertaining to watch battles than is qualifying runs. Right. And then now as people are kind of like, well, there should be some qualifying because I think the end battles, like the top 16 battles and all that, will end up becoming a lot better because then it'll be better battles at the end versus, I mean, sometimes you see some crazy battles in 32 and you're like, this is definitely a battle that should have happened way later in the brackets.
Right.
So that was just,
but I mean, there's a benefit to that. Like,
yeah. But remember we were talking about like how shows go up, like when they I know, and that has happened where like we'll open top 32 on some heater that could be a final, and you're like, oh, okay, now we got to run through the rest of the show. Yeah, so
it happens. But I mean that's happened in qualifying too. I mean the era where Vaughn and Chelsea were trying to deliberately qualify low so they could chase first.
Yeah, so but that was good. It was good to watch, and it made crazy mix up of scenarios, and like it was entertaining. So either way, it's still drifting, so it's still awesome. I like it. I'll be part of it no matter what way they do it.
I agree. What I will say on that whole topic or any of these topics is that I think FD and Ryan Sage and the organization as a whole has been more open to change and suggestion than it's ever been.
I agree.
And I feel like the conversations that are being had, because like I'll chat with Sage and I'm like, oh, how was your week? He's like, oh, I chatted with this driver. I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, he's like, yeah, like, they booked in calls. We had these conversations about stuff and, we're going to work on these things. I'm like, that's amazing. Like, there's so many series out there that are like, this is how we do things, sit down, shut up and listen to the rules. That by no means is how FD is run. It is far more committee than ever. Well, it may not change as fast as people want. It's not like it's overnight. It's not like you guys are like, oh, we don't like this and they change it in the moment. But there are changes that happen very, very regularly.
Yeah, I mean, even with just how they position the boxes away from the cones now to not destroy cars for no apparent reason. So it's quite good how everything is working in it. And I think also too, at least in FD, I feel like we're a part of it. We're not just signed up to do it versus a lot of organizations, like you sign up and you're a player in their sport versus I feel like in FD, you're very much part of the program and part of the production of it. So it's different because they actually value your opinion, or at least our driver opinion, which is rare.
Yeah, you're not just a driver number. You're not just driver 43 RC. And you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really do like that. And I've always felt like people care. I mean, even with tech stuff with Kevin and all of them, like, dude, I've called Kevin crazy hours of the night. And he's like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, I got this in this scenario. Like, what do I do? How do I fix this for tomorrow? And he's like, this and this and this. I'm like, okay, thanks. All right, bye. So they actually do care. They love it. They love the production. I believe they love drifting as well. And it shows. So it's quite good. We're around people that cares.
That's all we talk about. Yeah. Staff, like, it's just nonstop. I mean, even the hotel. I mean, I'm sure you've walked in like all the staff in the hotel after an event and just sitting there. It'll be like, how's your family? Everyone's good. Cool. We want to talk about the event this weekend. And that's like, it's just, that's what it becomes. I had people over at my house after Orlando I put on drifting on the TV and the entire staff that was here just sat on my couch eating barbecue, watching drifting the whole time after Orlando was done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very real world we live in. So it's awesome. Yeah. I love all of it.
Yeah. Same, dude. So. Well, we are like 2.5 hours already, dude.
Are we? Oh,
yeah. Crank through it.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we cover some stuff that people actually wanted to hear. Hopefully me and you just not talking to each other. What I truly love about this conversation in particular is this is exactly how you and I talk at every event. It's just significantly longer than how we normally, because it's normally like 10, 15 minutes about something crazy. And then it's like, okay, I got to go do this. Well, someone grabs me or someone grabs you and pulls you away. And I'm like, all right, bye, buddy.
Bye. Yeah. It's that the knowledge that it's never offensive when someone just starts like pulling you aside and you're like, I didn't even get a chance to really say goodbye or end this conversation. But you just know, you're like, there's nothing they can do. They're with the fans now. Let them be with the fans.
Like, they are gone. Into the abyss.
Into the void. Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. So it's always a good time.
It's great. No, dude, I'm glad we got to do this. For everybody listening and watching at home, please make sure to follow Rome Stuff. Watch the vlogs. They're scrappy. They're raw. They're a really good harken back to like what I fell in love with vlogging, where it's like raw. It's like, I forgot to film this thing, but I'm going to explain it all to you really, really quick because it's kind of important to what's happening right now. Like that shit I love. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me just catch, like, I like a good polished vlog. I love very cinematic stuff. But to me, what makes those videos awesome is how raw it is and how real it is and not polished. That makes a good video for me. So
thanks for telling me nicely that they're edited garbage, but I appreciate it. At least you're honest about it.
It's not that. I just give me what's happening. I don't need to see 6 minutes of B-roll with some EDM song over it. That's not for me. I've made enough of those in my life. I've seen enough of those. I'm kind of over it. If it's not telling me exactly what's happening in the story, if it's B-roll of something that's happening that moves the story ahead, totally fine. If it's you crashing and then the next scene is like you explaining what happened, that makes sense to me. But if it's like 45 seconds of other drivers doing stuff at the track, I'm like, why am I watching this? I'm here to see what you're doing, not what everyone else is doing.
Not some random thing. Like, oh, look, over there's a tree.
Dude, it happens. So
yeah, I don't normally have enough time to film random stuff. I'm just like, hey, this is what we're doing. I hope this makes sense. I apologize if I missed a part of it. Try and catch up now. My ADHD is like going wild. So hopefully we're on the same page. And we're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to hammer this out with whatever we got. So
that's great. Dude, yeah, thanks again. I don't know how long you said you're flying to Orlando tomorrow. If anything goes wrong, you need anything, I'm home all day tomorrow. Let me know. I'm not far, so I don't know where are you storing the cars? You know what? You don't have to tell me. But
it's right next to the racetrack. So I don't know how far you are from the racetrack, but
25 minutes. I was there today.
Okay, yeah, right next to the racetrack. So no more Canada, eh?
No, I'm a Florida boy now, baby.
Oh,
I know.
What made you move down?
Just work and travel, and there's a really good drifting scene down here, and I wanted to be a part of it. That's it. Where I lived in Canada, there was no real drifting scene. I was traveling to the US. I was crossing the border
a million times. I know they were like, you're on the red flag list. We were worried if you were coming back or not.
It was getting brutal. So no, I got the old visa now, so I can be here for 6 years, and
sick.
Everything's legal and above board for any of the ICE agents listening. I'm all good. So
they just come in through the back door. Oh, they pull you away. I have to end it myself.
It's all good. I went through an immigration lawyer. All of it is good. Honestly, it's close to the scene. I was kind of tired of winter. Florida's really cheap to live in. The Canadian economy was not going in a place I wanted it to go. And I was like, fuck it. Let's just do something crazy. And my wife was 100% down. The kids were down. Awesome. Their only request is that we had a pool. That was it.
Well, yeah, because
the kids were like, they're like, we'll move to Florida, but we need a pool. And I'm like, all right, so got a house with a pool. And
but I feel like it's pretty easy to find in Florida is a house with a pool. I don't feel like it's a huge ask. It's almost harder to find one without a pool.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. Good. I mean, we're renting, which is the first time I've rented since like college. It's kind of nice. It's weird, but there were a bunch of things went wrong at the house. Called the property manager up, and they're like, "Yeah, it's fine. We'll take care of it." I'm like, "All right, sweet." So it's
it's definitely nice.
Yeah, it is. So it's just I don't know. I needed a lifestyle change, and this was a big one. But I'm super happy. Like I said, I went to OSW, went and drove one session today. It was cheap. It was $60 for a day. I drove one session and burned through 2 sets of tires in the G, mostly because the alignment was off in the rear and I camber wore them, but it was great. I had an absolute blast. Everybody's been phenomenal. So yeah,
where do you guys drive there? Is it the bank or is it outside road course? Or like
the skid pad, basically. They just set up a really, really nice layout. So it was kind of like basically straight in about halfway through where the skid pad is. And then it kind of had a double apex and like big, long, swooping thing. You can run the bank if you want. I didn't because I, liked the way my car looked and didn't want to ruin that.
Wait, I'm confused. So hold on, they set up all this inside the OSW?
No. So you have the oval track, right?
Yes.
And then in the middle, before the grass, where basically like where you guys would be lining up and stuff like that, like where you would do your staging, that's where the pits are for everybody. And then there you have the grass section, and then where you guys were pitted in the back, that's all skid pad.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I thought.
They set it there.
You just threw me off when you're like, yeah, you could do this big turn, and if you want, you can go up on the bank. And I'm like,
no,
what?
No, sorry.
Like they just fire you down through the middle and then just like up and around the bank?
You can. So on this event, you could go run the oval, or you could go and run the skid pad, whatever you wanted to do.
Did most people just run the skid pad?
Yeah.
It's probably more fun, especially on lower horsepower cars. I'm sure it's more fun.
Yeah, I have a G, and it was phenomenal. Put it in second, and I was running 255 tires with like 30 PSI in them, and it's great. I mean, I had one set of scrubs that I burned through, and then basically a brand new set of tires, and went through both of those in a 45-minute session. I was super happy.
Yeah, see, and I mean, that's when it's still affordable. Like you can still go out there and have a solid day and not spend a whole lot of money. I mean, it's cheaper than Disneyland or anything else for sure.
Oh, bro.
And I know. I'm in California. I have the same scenario. And you just go out there and jam around, have fun, and then go home and relax.
I mean, realistically, it was like a maybe $500 day total. Like if you really put everything into it. But it was probably cheaper than that because like tires were 2 something and fuel for the truck. So I could easily say maybe 300 for the day.
Yeah, and
So-
that's really not that bad.
No,
I mean,
no.
like it's not. Most any hobbies are $300 now a day, if not more.
Yeah. Dude, my hockey league fees were like $800 for the year, and I played 12 games. So gives you an idea.
Yeah. So it's all expensive. But imagine if you had to buy all new gear each time. Like it'd be insane.
I rebought all my gear 2 years ago, and that was $8 and a bit grand.
Yeah.
So
and
that's not even top of the line. Like that's like, that's beer league equipment. It was new, but it was still beer league equipment.
Yeah. So if you bought some nice, like whatever Bauer or something, all good gear, you're probably easy 10 grand. Especially for goalie gear, I'd be like 15 grand into it. So
yeah,
I'm as much
expensive.
as a very good car, I could buy an S15 at like 20 grand into goalie gear, or go buy an S15.
Yeah, dude, goalie helmet you can spend $3 grand on, like the nice carbon fiber ones.
And then you go have Patrick paint it.
Yeah,
Mr.
dude.
PPK, buddy.
One day I will have him paint my goalie mask. It will happen, but
that's how this whole thing started with Patrick. Is like I've always had we never had money to afford a painted helmet or get someone to paint it or anything. So I always had a white cue ball helmet, they call it. And when I went, I decided when I go pro, I'm gonna get a helmet painted because that probably meant more to me than actually going pro. I know it sounds funny, but like having a custom painted helmet, being a pro driver is like the level to me that's insane. And I talked to Patrick, and he doesn't paint helmets for very many people. I mean, he paints helmets for a lot of people, but it's very hard to get him like specialized to be like, hey, yes, I'll paint you a helmet, because they mean a lot to people, and they mean a lot to me. And I got it because Odie recommended me, Dan recommended me, Matt recommended me, all these people recommended me. So he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then we talked hockey and all that, and it was all good to go. And now he literally pays me one each year. Like that's how
crazy.
addicted I am to having a custom painted helmet.
Yeah.
So it's
him.
insane.
Yeah, him and I chatted about doing a goalie mask, and I wanted to buy a really nice. I have a very particular idea that I want to do, but it requires a raw carbon goalie mask. So, which are not cheap, and I'm like, there's so many other things I can do with this money.
I mean, how much is a good raw helmet?
So my goalie mask was like a Bauer 580. And I think I paid $750 for it.
That's good.
And that's not even, it's scary. That's not bad. But like, I can't remember the name of the brand he recommended, but there's a brand that's made in Quebec. It's all like handmade, beautiful goalie masks, but they do a raw carbon mask and it's like $2,800.
Like a Stilo.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And it's like, but I really wanted to do like, a Venom face for a goalie mask, but I wanted the Venom to be in like raw carbon, and then him do like the white highlights in it for the eyes and stuff like that.
Dude.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, right? It would be sick.
Yeah, I
And I'm
totally
like,
get, especially because as you're skating down at that, you're like,
I know, right?
What?
So
Yeah, if you could get some cool pads or something to match it, it would be sick.
I have a full black setup right now. I went with Brian's heritage style pad. So yeah.
I always wore Brian's stuff. This stuff was so good.
Yeah.
So
I used to
good.
live like an hour from the factory.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, I got to go tour it. It's incredible.
It was so expensive because we had to get it from you guys and then ship it across again. So it was super expensive for us down here.
So good though.
But I remember saving up a bunch of money just to buy a glove, and then I saved up a bunch of money to buy a blocker because then I had Vaughn whatever.
Okay.
And then they didn't match, and I hated the fact I had a black glove and like a white and blue blocker. Like I was like not having it.
Yeah.
So I remember all that.
Goaltending is like one of the few things left in sport where like you can have so much self-expression in it. Like the players don't really get to do it. There's not many other like stick and ball sports where you get to do that. A little bit in football, but like not really. It's cool.
So you could easily make, because you have all black Brian's pads, you could easily do like a white airbrush like Venom stuff on it.
That's
to make
what I'm
it look crazy looking.
I know. One day. But I have other things I need to be spending money on. I shouldn't be.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Shouldn't be talking to you into this.
It's all good. That's the hardest part, man, is just like, okay, trying to be responsible and put it in the right places. And it's just too easy to spend money these days.
Yeah. Especially because we get very inspired by other people. You're like, oh, this is such a good idea. You're like, no, it's not. This is a horrible idea.
I haven't sunk a dime into that drift car in forever. And like I got home from the track and immediately built a shopping list. I'm like, okay, I need to get this. I need to get this. And it's like, that's the issue. It's just, it gets in my head. And then I'm like, okay, I got to redo the trailer. I want to put racking up for the straps. I want to like.
Yeah, I get the same way. And it's bad. That's why every car that I've had turned into a pro car. So now I have 4 of them. And I'm like, bro, I was supposed to have 1 pro car and 1 streetable car. And it just never stayed that way.
No, it's too easy. It's probably easier now to build a pro car than it is a street car.
It's more legal, I'll tell you that much. Especially in California.
Fair enough. Hey, move to Florida. Dude, just come over here, man. I mean, you probably saw some of the cars when you were here. It's wild what people get away with.
You have some cool, like super cool cars over there. So
it's well, because there's just no rules. Like you can register cars on the internet now. It's wild.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just want
print off a plate.
As long as they
just want you driving.
You're like, here's some money. I got you. If you're driving, you're making us money. You're going somewhere. You're spending money. So here we go. Come on the roads.
That's it. That's it. As long as you're feeding the old Disney beast, like they just don't care. Just keep spending money here. We don't care how you're going to do it. Just keep spending money in Florida.
It's like, how many kids you got? 3 of them. They're definitely going to Disney. Like, come on down to Florida.
Yeah, basically. But all right, dude.
All right. Have fun. I know it's late for you over there. What time is it over there?
11:38. So
not too bad.
Not too bad. Just getting the day going. So.
Yep. And then tomorrow you have a happy Father's Day, right?
Yeah. I'll probably drive, funny enough, about 2 hours south to go watch my son play in the finals of his tournament. So
what's he playing?
Yeah, hockey.
I mean, but what does he play position wise?
He's a left winger.
Okay, right-handed or left-handed?
He's left-handed.
Oh,
so I'm sticking to the boards. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's left. Plays left defense.
Yeah.
So
nice. Yeah, I kept him at a goal, man. Kept him at a goal. That was my.
Why? Goal is great.
It's just so expensive. It's such a mental
that's what it
game.
was. You're like, you kept him at a goal for you.
A little bit. He was a decent goalie too, but he's a much better winger. He's got an incredible shot and like phenomenal hockey sense. Like his ability to see where the play is going is so good.
Yeah, because he was a goalie, so he sit there and watch the play all day long. Like I could tell you where the puck's going to go too. I'm like, bro, I've seen this one before.
I know.
Imagine your puck play. You'd be fine. You'd be slow to go get the puck, but you could tell him where it's going.
I don't even know if I could skate on player skates anymore. I've been wearing goalie skates since I was like 12.
Me too. The flat bottom. I've been playing since I was 4.5. So I was on goalie skates at I think 5 or 6.
Damn.
And first time, like as small as they could go. And I remember being on them and like, oh, these are so funny. They're clunky and square. And then they're so helpful in the crease.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great. So much faster. So like the picks on the front to be able to like dig into the ice, just phenomenal.
And stand back up. Because I remember little with big goalie pads, I couldn't stand back up on the thing because I just kept sliding because there's no points on the front of the skates.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the little things, man. But anyways, all right, dude. Thanks again for everybody listening and watching at home. I really appreciate it. This is definitely a good one. Make sure to follow Rome on everything, please.
Yeah, we're really trying to build the YouTube presence, so just any support there really, really helps. So just Rome CP on everything, basically.
Super easy to find. But dude, thanks again. And yeah, I'll see you soon.
I've seen you in a couple of days. And if not in Orlando, definitely in a couple of days in Jersey. So
looking forward to it.
Have fun, buddy.